Hi, guys. See, I've got a couple of you on here. Huh? I got 4 likes so far and only 2 people. I don't know how that happened. But I got my Timmy and I got beautiful butterfly on here. And we'll wait for a few minutes. We got somebody else coming on. We'll wait for a few minutes and we'll see how things are going. So tell me, well, Timmy's on here. He's got his high heels. He dreams about high heels because I refuse to wear them at my age. I didn't even wear them when I was 20, let alone at my age. So he dreams about high heels. So let's see what we got here. Better put these glasses on so I can see a little bit better on this screen. There's still only a few of us. Should we blab or should we wait for them, guys? Timmy might be coming in and out. I don't know. Because of his work, he comes in and out. Still have the beautiful flowers there from my neighbor. Aren't they great? The ones over there for taking care of her plants. Let's see. Donald's coming back, he said. I know that. So it might be a small group. It's only 4:03, though, so we'll see. Some usually come in later, huh? Hope we get to see Tahoe. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna give it like a couple more minutes and we'll see who we get on here, huh? It's getting wild. I'm killing you, whatever I feel moved to do. Oh, well, I just love having you guys here. It just makes, I was going to say that, is that, and there's not enough of you on here because I know there's usually many more of you, but it's like you guys just fill my life so much with joy and a sense of belonging and a sense that I'm with and surrounded by the right people. You know what I mean? So I wanted to say that. And Patricia, no more than you absolutely have been, you've been an anchor for me in this whole storm. I have to say that. So let's see. My sweetie says, less serious question. Why can't Ralph Cramden ever win? I can tell you that, sweetheart. He can never win because hi, beautiful Tahoe. We were just asking for you. You never see Donald's chat? Well, it's coming. Oh, I'm so glad you got here. Look at that heart there. Everybody's been thinking about you. Okay, to Tim's serious question. First of all, if any of you know who Ralph Cramden is, he was the Honeymooners. And Tim always wants to know why he can't ever win. Well, the reason he can't ever win is because he thinks he's a loser. And what you think, you manifest. Anybody disagree with that one? Ralph Cramden thought he was a loser. And that's why he was. So that's your answer to that, Timmy. And I, by the way, have an affirmation too. Let's give it to the early comers, huh? We've got some early comers here, and I'm going to start off with the affirmation because I think it's important as we move through this transition. We all need a little help. We all need a little support. We all need a little bit of validation that we're on the right track. So let's start with an affirmation. Okay, guys? All right. So you can go down and you can write this down. You can make your own, whatever. But just close your eyes for a second. Think. And let's now manifest this affirmation. I release all lower frequencies of fear and lack. I anchor my mind and my heart in the absolute truth of our collective awakening, freedom, and boundless abundance. And so it is. So I thought that was a really good one. I thought that was a great affirmation. And I wanted to start out with one because I think we also, I was thinking about it, and these live streams are turning out to be the more, in my opinion, some of the more committed people to evolution. Most of you guys are, you're out of that negative anger stage of everything that's gone on. Sure, we question, sure, we go down. Nobody ever stays in 5D, okay? I mean, it's not a constant thing. Yeah, if you go into 7 or 8 or 90, yes, then you're probably resting at 5. But we're always going to be up and down. And I saw somebody say that in a comment this morning, was that they were having some rough times or they had some down times or whatever. I forget who it was. But that's common, guys. We always vacillate between the two. It's, again, fluid. Nature moves. All kinds of things happen in nature. Anything is possible in nature, because where's it coming? It's coming from us, what we manifest. So we always vacillate, and the goal is to try to find ourselves existing in 5D much more than we exist in 3 or 4. So it's a time thing. The more often we're in 5D, and then less and less will be in 3, and we'll move up. And that's how it works. We move up. So what I want to do now to remember and to move you up and help keep you there is I want you to just, as you go about your day, whenever you can, if you have to write it on your, I used to write things on my hand. I used to have hospital bracelets with affirmations when I worked in a hospital, right? And I'd put affirmations on there. So I'm working through the day and I just look at my hand and I can see what's going on. So, or I could be reminded. It's a reminder, the repetition. So anyway, what I want you guys to do, just before we get into the news, is I want you to remember and I want you to think as often as you can, this 3 words: I am love. That's who you are. You are love. Hi, Helen. And look who comes in. It's amazing. Okay, so a work in progress here. You absolutely are. Okay, let's see. You guys were doing a little things. Let's just catch up. I don't want to get too far behind. Donald came in early today. He was in here at 3:30 and he thought he was running late. So he left a comment and then went out. So he said he's coming back. We'll see. Now we know why Cramden is a loser, Tim. Okay, everybody understand why he's a loser? Because he thinks he is. All right, let's see. Tahoe's here. Yeah, when is your eye surgery, Patricia? Let us know, honey, because you'll need some healing vibes too, won't you? Tahoe's working hard. You're working hard, baby. You're working so hard. 8/17, 3 days. Monday. Okay. At 8:30 in the morning. Okay, good. You've got somebody, I'm assuming, to take you and be there for you. Let's see. Hi, Helen, again. Okay. All right. So we got through that. We got through our little chit chats, got through our affirmation, and we got through I am love. And I'm going to say that a few times throughout these things. I'm not going to do it in my regular videos because that's a completely different type of format. But in these things, they're more casual, and I want to begin to use these to help us have a time here when we can feel our vibrations elevating and we can begin to go more into the esoteric areas, to the manifestation areas. I want to focus on some things like that for the lives. But I think the news is a good format too, just to get through them. The news is easy, but I get a lot of ideas from here. Okay, so let's take a look at the news here, huh? All right, so who hates that Caroline Leavitt is leaving? Tahoe, you're so selfless. You always take care of everyone else. Who hates that Caroline Leavitt is leaving? I really loved her. She didn't put up with anything from this media, and she did it in such a nice way. She would always be very kind and very nice. She never raised her voice, but she would put people in. She was perfect. I don't know who's going to replace her. And they, we can't expect them to be the same, but I hope that whoever replaces her can be as effective. Tim couldn't wait to come home and see if she, was on and what she had to say. Oh, Donald, there's Donald. He made it back on. I know. I hate you. Donald, we were talking about, we just started. We did an affirmation. And remember that you are love. That's going to be the theme of this thing here. Just remember that we are love and emanate that every day. But we were talking about Carolyn Leavitt and how she's leaving. And that's such a bummer. And who's going to replace her? I don't know. Drop who's going to replace her. All right. Or who you think would be a good one to replace her. Okay, so in case you guys don't know it, the old reptile George Soros turned 96 years old on Wednesday. And I went on, I forget whether it was his thread or his son's thread. I think it might have been his son's thread on X, wishing his father a happy birthday and saying something about how wonderful he was or something. Every single response on there was vitriol, guys. Soros cannot walk the streets. We're to that point. I believe, where George Soros is going to be the prime one that will not be able to walk the streets, because on his birthday there was, and I went through a lot of them. I went through, scrolled down probably through 50 different comments, and there was not one happy birthday, except from his son who made the post, and it was terrible, terrible things about him. So they're waking up. You got no Donald in your chat? Have you blocked her, Donald? He just posted above you, Patricia. So anyway, hopefully Soros won't make it to another birthday if he actually did. And then this one is for Patricia. Patricia lives in Massachusetts. And I just couldn't believe this. In case you guys don't know, Massachusetts is very liberal, very liberal. And they just passed a bill, 3351, that's creating a permanent 11-member commission on the status of people who practice Islam. So they're creating a permanent commission on taking care of Islamic people. Their purpose is to identify and recommend qualified American Muslims for appointive government positions at all levels. So there is a commission to find Muslims to populate our government. It's getting scary, guys, getting scary. It's sad because I have known Muslims in my life, and I had no problem with them. Oh, my hair's sticking out funny there. I had no problem with them coming legally. They didn't seem to be angry people or aggressive. They seemed to be good people and religious people. Oh, Scott Jennings could be replacing her, huh? But, what do we do with these? They're trying to take over our government. That is their goal. It's a religion that thinks it's monotheistic. It's their religion is all there is. And they hate America. They've mixed the religion and the politics together. And they now have commissions to put Muslims, specifically seek out Muslims to run them. And there's got to be money backing it. There has to be money backing it. And I don't know if I talked about it on the last one or this one, but Soros is cutting out his money to the DNC. He didn't give them any money so far this year, and I'm not sure about last year, but it was way down, his contributions. But I think if I had to guess, okay, I'm thinking that this is where Soros is putting his money in at this point. Is he's backing down on some of these protests and stuff like that. I mean, they're getting nowhere with these ICE protests, and of course, there's always going to be grassroots people that are still involved and so forth. But I think right now, I have this feeling or premonition, let's say, that right now the deep state's priority is taking over our government with Muslims now. Because what have they done? They've lost control of our government from the people like Hillary, Obama, and all of these, the Congress, the Senate, all of them. They're losing control there, right? So they're losing that funnel of government control that they've always had. And now their only choice is to ride on this Muslim thing and force these people in where they've already established communities of them that are legal, because don't forget now, they are getting the illegal votes cut off too. So this is kind of like I'm watching all of these different tactics that they've used being systematically cut off, and it's just absolutely wonderful to watch. So let me get back to that right there. So of course that bill to find some Muslim government officials at all levels was sponsored by Democrats. It advanced to the House Ways and Means Committee and was approved. And it directs the commission to assess state agency programs' effects on Muslim. So that even goes broader than just finding people. That tells me that here's a state agency, right? The school food program. Now they have to consider the effect on Muslims, and we're going to start paying for this halal food that they have. Our kids won't be able to eat any kind of pork, which to me, I don't have a problem with that. But some people, it's a restriction of our rights. Let's just put it that way. People should have the right. Just like they have the right to take the vaccine, they should have the right to eat what they want to eat. And we shouldn't have to pay because they can't assimilate into the American lifestyle and the agencies that already were established long before they ever came in. This food is based on the food pyramid and the health of our children, or at least it's supposed to be. And now we have to start looking and eating what they eat. BS, in my opinion. So they're also trying to do that. This commission is mandated to advise on legislation and to serve as a liaison to interest groups and to solicit funds while hiring paid staff. Okay, so the taxpayers of Massachusetts are going to pay to put Muslims into their government right now. Public debate is centered on the commission's focus on one religious group, exactly, amid a small Muslim population share of 2 to 3%. So there's only 2 to 3% Muslims, but they're embedded in the government, and that's where the problem lies. The ACLU of Massachusetts is citing potential conflicts with state constitutional requirements for government religious neutrality. So that's something, at least, that although I don't trust the ACLU, but again, it was the same thing with those, the Catholic religion, what they've been telling us for so long. The ACLU has been, well, you got to include everybody. It's civil liberty. So now they got to be careful not to overstep and go too much one way or the other. Let's see. So Scott Jennings, I don't know about that. He's always had women press secretaries, and they've done well. I mean, and I don't mean this because I understand that, a man can be just as effective. But the men that he's put up so far, they're doing great. Like the director of war, he's doing a great job there. And certainly Kash Patel is just standing right up to this. He is standing up to the challenge and fighting back. But you've got to have a person in there that is almost skilled in the ways of testifying in a courtroom. Because the way you do that is you get asked a question by the bad guy's counsel, right? And then your job is you have to answer it in a responsive manner, but you always look for a way, because they're not going to, if something isn't brought in on questioning, you're not going to be able to introduce it or rebut it. So you kind of look for a way to, and you look for a way to get stuff in. You know what I'm saying? Like you answer their question with a comment saying, yeah, but, and you add the evidence in there and you talk about it. So these women have been especially good. It's a zinger at answering things, doing it calmly. And I call it resting bitch face. I mean, there's nothing like resting bitch face, guys. You've all been there. You know what I'm saying? You've seen it. So, I don't know. I don't know. He's done real well with women. I'm kind of thinking he might go with a woman, but we'll see. We'll see. You didn't block her? I really don't know how or how to unblock it. If I figure it out, I'd fix it. So are you seeing him yet? So what you said that Tahoe was above you, Patricia, that's not on mine. So that comment, they must run differently for everybody, how the order of them. So look around up there. I wonder why Donald is not showing there. I think it was last week too. It might be one of your settings too, Patricia. You never know. Check your settings out and like click on his name or something. Okay. Wasn't that crazy? A committee for one religion, or should I say ideology? It's that's why I say, guys, this is a movie. There gets to a point where you say, okay, how frigging ridiculous is this? Okay, how can I possibly believe that anybody is supporting this? So it's against everything that freedom is, and what I see happening in a lot of ways is, yes, there are older people. I've seen a lot of older people that are mega just blind, and that's because they are exposing themselves only to the brainwashing, the CNN, the MS. And my daughter, like I said, she walks into houses every day because they have a cleaning service, and she walks into houses every day, and she says this one woman that argues with her all the time has got nothing but CNN on the whole time they're there. So, there's people that expose themselves only to that. And then there are the young who just don't have a clue. When they don't know history, and especially the ones now. At least when we were kids, we had some history. I hated it, so it was a bad thing for me. I never liked history, but it's I now know how important it is. And these kids aren't getting it, and what they are getting is total contrived disinformation in schools. They're instead of there was one teacher that was crying because his kids couldn't do basic math or read. And I mean, that's what the schools have become. And that is, at our age, and at my age anyway, this hair is supposed to go over those wrinkles in the center. I know I just brought your attention to them. But at our age, it's not going to help us. But again, it's about being selfless. It's about thinking about what is going to happen in the future. That's where we are. We're the ones that are looking at, and everybody should be concerned about the collective, about mankind, about their future, and put their own needs aside until we move. Because when we do go up there, that we're going to enjoy those just as well. And if we don't make it, we know that we left being part of it and contributing to the evolution of mankind. And that's a really important thing for me. So, this whole thing about these Muslims taking over and in our government, and what's happening in New York, pretty soon, you mark my words, pretty soon we're going to see lines around these free grocery stores if we haven't already. And you see there's a major, now they've got a sign on Times Square about trying to get businesses to stay in New York when they're all coming to Florida because he's raised the taxes. It's just crazy stuff. Nobody in their right mind could be proceeding that quickly with such an obvious takeover. You know what I'm saying? The way takeovers work is they weasel their way in. And like people in communist countries say, it didn't happen overnight. It comes in quickly and it weasels its way in, and one law is passed and then one change, and people acclimate to that, and it becomes the new normal and stuff like that. So this whole Mandani thing and trying to stack the courts and stack the government, obvious stupid bills like this, I think it's a movie. Every one of those I see convinces me more and more that it's a movie. Yeah, I'm wondering, that's a good idea, Hel. Did you block Donald in some way? Not on purpose, of course, but inadvertently. That's what I'm thinking. And Helen says did you see just in case you didn't see that, 3 of the dots to the right of your comments? When you hover over the dots, there is an option to block. Maybe you hit block inadvertently. Yeah, check that, guys. I don't know. I'm not a really too techie person. Or maybe it was Patricia. It's okay. Thanks, heaven. I'm not good with computers. Oh, I know that feeling. I've been on them since before the internet was public. I've been on them, but I'll tell you, and I even took classes. I trained in computer security when I was with the government because I was like their guru when crime first went on the internet. And in 2 years, 3 years, it's changed so drastically that I know nothing. I just know nothing. And every time you do, it's not fluid for me to learn these things. I have to go through a ramp up of learning all of these softwares all the time. It's just crazy. Oh, you're on a laptop. Okay, cool. Yeah, I always do a laptop. My phone is garbage. I don't know what that is, but I'll write it down, Dan. Yeah, I do. I've heard it. It's been popping around. I've passed through it. Well, I can look it up while we're here too. Okay, mark that down here. All right. Yeah, the ACLU, big time. Well, I did a couple years ago. I did a trace of money when Data Republican, when I first discovered them, and they have put together. It's a great database for finding out who's funding who and where the money's going. And I don't know if you remember, Patricia, but I did a trace of the money of this agency, and it went right in. You go, and at the end, after you follow it, it goes through all these different shell corporations. ACLU was always in there laundering the money. And at the end of this particular one, it led to not the mayor, but somebody in California, one of their public officials, was taking $300,000 a year to be the president. And mind you, these guys are doing this with multiple. She had 3 different NGOs that she was making that kind of money from. So she's making $1 million a year to do nothing except put her name on this NGO and help get money to go to it. It's insane, insane. It's all in the legal language and the dance. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Good point, and worth repeating. Worth repeating. It's not your lot in life, guys. It's not where you are today. It's your perception of it and your spiritual awakening that determines how you see the world. So if you're seeing the world like it's crap, it's bad, you need to revisit your perception of the world and where you are spiritually. And thank you, Dan. That was really, really good. Happy's here. Hi, Hap. I found the dots, but has not got a block mode that I can find. I'm afraid to touch it. Okay, because I don't want to lose this stream, guys. Hello, Happy. Okay, Happy's here. Everybody loves Happy. Everybody loves Happy. Okay, I found it, but you're not blocked on my end. Okay, I'm glad I finally found it. Oh, I need to take a sip, but I wanted to tell you guys. Before, you remember I was drinking the coconut water from Aldi, and it was tasty and it was pretty clean. But they ran out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and this is how it happens all the time. This is how when True Leave ran out of gummies, why I started making my own brownies and saved myself a bunch of money. Well, this isn't going to save money, but I found a better coconut water. So they didn't have it, and I went online looking. See this stuff? Real cocoa, organic water. So it's organic and it's pressed. It was the only one I could find online that was pressed. And there's 2 different colors of this. It needs to be the light green one. And that's the one that's pressed. And if you remember, if you saw my video on oils and things, so apparently what they're doing is when they process this coconut, and it's not as bad as when they're doing olives for olive oil or seeds and stuff. They use a whole lot of chemicals with those. And so there is a lot of coconut water already in there that you just drain off if you've never cut open a coconut. But it apparently they also take the meat and they squeeze that out to get the most coconut they can. So there's different ways they do it, and they do use, some of them use a chemical extraction with that. So this one here is pressed, and I looked it up. It is cold pressed. They use no heat in it, and they just press it out. So this is my new recommended one: real cocoa organic water pressed. If you drink coconut water, which you should, it's really good for you. All right, so what do we got here? Happy and his stuff. Everybody needs to get their seeds in the ground. Oh, you should see mine. It's my ginger's coming up. I have more basil than I know what to do with. I have found bok choy very easy, but I'm in South Florida and in the dead of summer, and we've had, it's either feast or famine with the rain. At this time, we normally have rains every afternoon for a half hour. It's a wonderful spring shower or summer shower. However, we have had major no days, almost like a tap has been shut off because the mosquitoes get insane and you can't even walk outside your house. So it's been really, and there's no air at all. So I haven't had luck. My tomatoes, which used to just thrive with nothing but a little talking to them, and my cucumbers, I am not having luck at all. So I found a Mexican type of cucumber that I'm going to try in the heat. But yes, everybody, you're going to screw up. Okay. You're going to lose plants. Don't let that make you think, oh, that's the end of that. I've got hot peppers going. I've got several watermelons, and they're finally getting big now. I have one about this big so far. I've got ginger coming up. I've got basil coming out of the ears, bok choy, celery. I have trees out back that we planted, which don't give us much, that's for sure, because trees take a long time. But you're right. Get those seeds in the ground, guys, and save them. If you have tomatoes, what I did is I've got a lot of heirloom tomatoes that when my Cherokee tomatoes thrived last time, I saved the seeds. This was 2 years ago, before the hurricane anyway. And I saved the seeds and dried them. And now I have all my own seeds for multiple generations that are mine. And they're growing just for me with everything that I need. So get those gardens out there, guys. Get them out there. Even if you have to do a hydroponic inside, I don't know. I know they're kind of expensive, but you can look for a used one. Maybe on Facebook. That's what we're doing. We've got our hydroponics outside, but what we're finding out, and this is my first time really trying to give it a good shot in this hot South Florida, and it's been especially dry. So, and even though we have hydroponics, we have no wind. So, and that makes all these things come on them, different bugs and stuff. So anyway, I don't know. Oh, get your stuff, do your planning. Oh, we want to get one of those indoor things, but they're very expensive, an indoor hydroponic thing. So we're checking on Facebook. I'm going to keep my eye out on Facebook and maybe have an indoor unit down here in the South because our greens, we love our greens. We love our romaine, spinach, and in South Florida, it's very, very difficult to grow those. My best romaine ever was up in almost North Florida in the Hudson area when we lived up near my daughter. It's illegal to be homeless now in many areas near you. $7 fine, cops threatening them. Oh my goodness. And these are not addicts. They're mostly elderly. Oh my goodness, Tahoe. Gave a woman what little snacks I had on me. She was going to. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. When you're out there, can you get videos or anything, or write up something? Here's my thoughts, and I know you've got enough on your plate, Tahoe, but maybe it's something that you can get to, and when you do go down there, and I know you don't have transportation or anything, or even write me something up and find some photographs in your local papers. I will be happy to do something on this, because I think we need to expose this stuff. Let me do a little research. That's in Tahoe. And the funny thing is, guys, if you guys don't know, Tahoe is a relatively well-to-do area. It's not like Palm Beach, okay? It's not like Palm Beach or Beverly Hills. But Tahoe's where, a lot of the wealthy go to vacation and stuff. So it's not like she's out in a place where nobody's going to see this. This is terrible, terrible. So now it's illegal. There's areas where it's tough. It's so tough. We can't make it legal for people to sleep on the streets. That's clear. That's clear. That's not where we want anybody. That's not where we want anybody. I've always been a big believer that with all the money we've had, why haven't we put up, whether they're tiny homes, whether they're, the prices have got to be so much cheaper than what they were doing with illegals, which was putting them up in hotels. And they did it with the homeless too, put them up in hotels. That's got to be expensive. Although government does get, like when I traveled for government, which I traveled a lot when I worked for the state, we always had an amazing price on places like Embassy Suites. And we got like, and I remember, and it's been a while, but we would pay like $59 for Embassy Suites. And that comes with an amazing breakfast, happy hour. So governments get deals, don't get me wrong. I just think that these people there needs to be incentives, and that's a great humanitarian project for somebody that might be looking for something to do from a humanitarian standpoint, is not go out and necessarily create them, but to create the structure, create the ideas, brainstorm. Is this something we want to research? I don't know if we have enough people on here that want to come up with ideas and throw out ideas where we could put together something where homeless people can, what they need. First, we have to analyze it. What is it they need? What is it will keep them there? Do they need off drugs? Do they need medical care? Why are they there? I guess even goes to, what do they need? How did they get there? You know what I'm saying? There needs to be an analysis on that, because we can't just let them sleep all over the streets. It's a health risk. It creates such a horrible vibration there. And in that space right there for those people, how can they ever get out when every day they're living in a time of want, in a time of fear? They can't. How can they manifest anything better when they're living in that? So that I hope we have people on that, and I don't know. That's just something that I would love, and I would set up, if a group of you guys wanted to set up a humanitarian thing about how to solve the homeless problem, and do real research. It would take time, not just throwing things out. It would take research, but I would be willing to host something like that. Let's see, because it's a problem. You don't want, right there, you don't want them sleeping in front of your house and sitting on your lawn or in your street, pooping outside and stuff, and rats with their food and stuff. It can't happen. But by the same token, you don't want to fine them, for God's sake. So where are they going to get $700? You know what I'm saying? And you're right, elderly. There's so many elderly that they paid their dues. You know what I'm saying? They paid their dues, and they should never be living on the streets. And what you're saying, Patricia, Tim and I went out with Tim for I don't know how long. I don't know if Timmy's on here or not, but I went out on his big rig with him. We thought that was a way he could ramp up and have a nice income, since he didn't have a college degree. And it was a nightmare. Worst job. I'll tell you, I really respect these truckers, because what they have to put up with and the lack of quality of life that they have is just terrible. But we were in Chicago. And we saw this homeless lady, and she had white hair. She had all her stuff in a shopping cart. And it just broke my heart. And I want to compare that. She reminded me very much of a woman that for year after year after year, we would see living in Rome train station. She was living there, and this woman would get up every day and put makeup on. She's homeless, and she would dress to the nines. And I would bet you that for probably 7 years, every time we'd go to Rome Station, and we'd usually go once or twice a year, that woman was in there, and we'd see her. And always the same. They had a place. Maybe it's one big building with resources. Why do they need separate houses? I don't know the answers, guys, but it hurts me, Tahoe, that you said that. And I know you were in that position, and it's scary to you. So please let us know if something happens to you, and it's horrible. Put Donald's handle for you. Okay. Anybody do it yet? Oh, there it is. Donald Hendricks. Okay. Thank you, Tahoe, for taking care of that. A cemetery to hide. She was out of options. I don't know. I can tell you that hurt me, and I know you didn't mean to. It hurts you too. It's just so sad to see that. Isn't that crazy? If it's illegal, I lost. I'm lost in my comments here. So what you're saying is they're chasing them away, just hoping that they become somebody else's problem, is what it sounds like. That's not right. Okay. You don't have him in your chat. You've got him blocked or something. I don't know. How could that be? If you have any Costco, they have the Kirkland, nothing added, pure clean. Yeah, the Kirkland, we pull that once in a while, but and again, you know, we can never cut all of these poisons out. To think that we can is crazy. So I'm not robo about it, just like about vegetarianism. You know, I'm not a RoboCop about this. It's not my place to dictate to anybody. For myself, what I try to do is I'm not an extremist as much as I used to be. It's not an all or nothing thing. You know, if I try and get the cleanest. I'm sure there's something in here. I'm sure that, but it's in the carton. I don't have the plastics. It's pressed. I don't have the chemicals of the extraction. And that was the big thing. It was the fact that it was pressed rather than extracted. That's huge, guys, because what do they use to press these things out? Wasn't chloroform, but it was something really bad that, you know. Trying new things as long as they're nutritious, delicious, and not poisonous. I know. Make pesto and freeze it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make, I have every kind of, not every kind, but I have a lot. I have lemon basil. I have lime basil. I have holy basil. I have Italian basil. I have, what's that basic basil? I forget, but simple basil. I have cinnamon basil. I have at least 7. I have one more. I said Italian. I have one more, and I don't know what it is. But so, and every one of them has a different flavor. It's really wonderful. I love basil. Basil's a very healthy thing to eat, and I am going to make some pesto. But I want to find some other things too to make it. And in my pestos too, I like to vary the nuts. So like I've used walnut pesto before, pistachio pesto. Um, I like to, that's the cool thing about it. And it's clean. It's not coming in plastic. And basil's so easy to grow. It's really a good one, in my opinion. So Kirkland, yeah, Kirkland's not bad. But you know what? We gave up Costco, Tahoe, when every time we'd walk in the front door, there was a trans person there. And I just got sick of seeing it. I just got sick of seeing, the what kind of company, okay, unless they're super liberal, and I'm one of those pieces. My hair, I wish you would cover that. It bothers me. It's terrible. I can see myself in this one. Anyway, I am the kind of person that I will boycott places. I don't know why it's doing that. I will boycott places if I know that they're like Starbucks. Okay, I used to like to go and have their coffee, their sandwiches, whatever. But man, when I pulled up to that thing and saw them wearing that BLM Black Lives Matter shirt, and it was a shirt that said, it wasn't a person's shirt, it was by Starbucks. It was the last time I went to Starbucks. And the same thing with Costco. When you walk in there and you've got people that have got all of these piercings and things on their mouth, and then they got masks, and the dudes are dressed up like women, and they are not supporting, and let's put it this way, they're accommodating the wrong kind of customers. Okay. And Tim and I said, you know what, we're not going to renew our membership there again. We just know that they did have better stuff than Sam's Club, and we're thinking about that BJ's also. Maybe switching to BJ's when it has to come up again. I haven't tried them. I don't know if any of you guys have. Use pesto on salad. Yes, like the tomato with the mozzarella. Soups, yep. Pasta, ricotta cheese, I know. And stuff it in eggplant. Yummy, my Italian side. You're doing great, girl. You're doing great. We have to get going better on the Clean Living channel. I know that. I'm trying to figure all of that out. I'm still working on all of this, guys. So bear with me. Most seeds are bioengineered, and they will not make a second generation. The heirloom seeds are the way to go. Yep, replicating the plants. Yep, and because and collect them, guys, because although I tend to think that it's over now, but you gotta always remember the dark ones are still, even after we move into the golden years, the dark never goes away. There's always that seed of the dark in light. Okay, so we have to understand that there may be a company that, or the manufacturers of these seeds could be, or the manufacturers of the foods. It's all about money and who pays them the most. So I like having seeds because there was a time there when I thought we would have no seeds. I thought they were sterilizing all the food so that you couldn't take a cucumber and save those seeds. And I don't know if you can, because I have my own now, but I really feared that they were going to take away our food supply by sterilizing the seeds from the food and taking away our options. And that is Bill. Hi, Bill. There's Bill Hale. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about. I agree totally. And guys, it's kind of weird. You know how we love our children, right? Our children interact with us. We love our pets. They respond. They come and they lay on us. Plants don't lay on us, but they have a vibration, guys. And what I can tell you is that I feel that they are also a very healthy frequency that I can interact with, and are like the third level of a child, say, right? I go out there and my plants are my children. I talk to them. They're not my children, but you know what I'm saying. I talk to them. I rub their stems. I touch their leaves, and I try to connect with them. And I could be nuts. I don't know. But just like Happy or somebody said, one of you guys said, It's about your perception. It's about my perception. When I go out there and I connect with my plants, I perceive a connection. And that's what counts, guys. It's your perception creates your reality. So try growing something, but make it food, okay? Food or scents. Scents, okay? That is basically what I grow. Even outdoors, I plant only things that can enrich my environment or my health. And so I grow herbs, I grow foods, I grow trees that are fruit trees or date tree or coconut tree or whatever you can up there. I grow rosemary, I grow lavender, I grow plumeria because I make roses, because I can make perfumes out of these and they can enrich my life. When I used to get out more in the place that we're at now, there's not a lot of places to go and not a lot of cool people. When the plumeria were blooming so well, I used to make a little lei for my head. You know what? I don't know what they call them, but a little thing of plumeria and string them like I did in Hawaii. And I'd have that perfume, and I didn't need that petroleum chemicals sprayed on me. You know what I'm saying? So grow things that smell good, grow things that feed you and that are healthy. And oh, Michael Jaco is in Tahoe. Yeah, I heard that he moved back there. Pointing that out, so anything we can do to try to help others. Absolutely happy. I haven't, and I don't know how to do it. I've got so much on my plate, guys. So much on my plate just trying to do the research on this. And Tim just, he works so many hours, he can't really help on it. But that's another thing. There's a function where in YouTube where we could do a community thing for a cause, like have a cause for something. I don't know if people have the means to do it, to give to others, because basically it's usually local. Like for me, when I go out, I don't know what's online and I don't trust what's online a lot of times. But when I go out and I interact with a person, just like you said, that poor lady, I personally buy her a bag of groceries, or an old lady's in front of me in the grocery line and I can see she's struggling. I might pay for her or pay it ahead on the toll or whatever. So I don't know about these, charitable things on YouTube. But we'll evolve, guys. This isn't going anywhere, and that's our goal is to evolve. Bill and Kathy. Hello, Patricia. That's Bill. There, Bill and Kathy. We got a Kathy with Bill. Is that what I'm hearing? We got a Kathy with Bill. There is that is wonderful. I hope so, Bill. I hope so, because it's so cool when a significant other of any kind, whether it's a sister, a brother, or whatever, like Patricia has her brother is involved. When they think alike and when you can communicate on the same level, it's a very cool thing to share awakening. Let's put it that way. Tahoe, there is a man that goes by Just Nate on YouTube. Only person helping pass out help, but more in Reno, Vegas. But he's been known to travel as out-of-state helping. I wish I could help. Tahoe, you can't travel right now because of what you're going through, but I understand, and that would be an absolute wonderful thing. Maybe you can connect with him and help in Reno somehow. Not Reno, in Tahoe. Maybe he can, you can say to him, look, bring me the stuff and I'll pass it out here for you. Because it's got to take up some of his time. He can't go and sit a whole day and pass out stuff in all of these different cities. So maybe you can offer to have the drop point and then go in with your mom or whoever and pass out, or maybe just you and pass out somewhere. You can always, what I found is that when you approach businesses, and I don't know in these liberal places, I don't know what you've got there. I just can't even imagine what you're dealing with. You can't go to the city hall, obviously, but I always found, I used to grant wishes for Make-A-Wish Foundation, And I was never a solicitor. I'm really bad at asking for anything free. I will pay more if I think somebody did a good job than what they're asking. So I was really bad at that. But I found at Make-A-Wish, one of the things I did as a wish granter is I would go to places and I'd put together their wish, okay? And I would enhance it. So they'd have one thing, let's say, let me pick one for you. The little child up there, what was her wish? Oh, her wish was to swim with the dolphins. And this particular one, I was up in Panama City Beach area there in 38 at the time. And her wish was to swim with the dolphins. Well, that is paid for by Make-A-Wish. And they take care of all that. They have donors and stuff like that. But I would do things like pick the family up at the airport, and I would make what they called enhancements for the children and their families. So I would go around and I found this. I would go to restaurants and I would say, look, we have a Make-A-Wish family coming in. Do you think, you could help us out and comp a dinner for them or something like that? Every time I asked a restaurant, they would comp a dinner for something like that. So I'm not saying that you do that, you don't go to a restaurant, but there's places that might give you some space and say, look, I need a space, in your parking lot to hand out these things to some people or whatever. And that could be your giving back right now, Tahoe. You need to focus on the beauty and find as much healing vibrations in you. And there's such a reward to doing charitable work. In that same child up in the Panhandle, I even had the child. She came during a time when we were having some kind of parade, and I had it set up that she was going to be in the parade with Make-A-Wish. We were going to decorate the car and all this. When I told her parents there, they arrived, and I told them what I had set up. The child was autistic, of all things. Can you imagine? She said she'll go ballistic. So I had to cancel the parade and change a couple things around because we always would try to make the kids be a celebrity, kind of, you know what I'm saying? And that was the last thing you wanted with an autistic child, is a bunch of people clapping around them. But anyway, so that may be one way you can help out in that area of Reno. I'd contact that Just Nate and say, I'm looking to give back. And, can I help you with this? And just say, I'm having surgery. It doesn't need to know your life at a certain point, and I won't be able to help at that time. But, I'd like to help. Whatever. Ask, guys. Make one move to charity. One move, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call, whether it's standing behind somebody and giving them and paying for their groceries. Maybe it's two things that they have, who knows? Just start to be love. Start to be love. That's going to be our new mantra, guys. Why can't motels, hotels block off just 6 rooms for homeless? Write it off. That's really a good thing. And here's the problem, though. And that's why I said the solution has got to start back before the actual structures, because you got to know if these people need help. You can't expect people to, like what happened up in New York City. All they know is what we saw in New York City, where illegals were coming in and they were tearing up the rooms and leaving, having parties and smoking in the rooms and all of this stuff. Somehow people must be vetted in some way. And there has to be, before, when they're vetted, there has to be a program for some sort of work on their part, whether it's getting off drugs, whether it's finding a job, whatever. They've got to do some kind of work and on themselves to get themselves better. Just throwing money at people, throwing free stuff at people doesn't do it. That's what I'm saying. We have to go back beyond that and find out, how can we incentivize these people? If they're mentally ill, then they need treatment. There needs to be a program. Remember, I don't know how many of you guys remember the days of free clinics. I don't know if they exist anymore, but they were, when I was working for the state, I would have to go and inspect or investigate these free clinics and stuff. And why don't we have more of them? Well, that's who we should be subsidizing, not subsidizing gender changes. You know what I'm saying? And we pay for their mental illness. Why can't we pay for the mental illness of the homeless? You know, it's such a problem. And could you imagine solving the homeless problem? I'm sure greater minds than us, but you know, it takes a community. Jaco relocated a couple years ago to Florida, actually. Yeah, he was real close to me. I don't know. And then I saw he was here. I recognized the area. And then all of a sudden he just picked up and moved back to Tahoe. I don't know why. He sold his place in Florida. Yeah, it was I wish I had a place like that on the water. Michael recently said he's in Tahoe. Yeah. Well, you could tell also by the streams, you could tell the difference in the environment of where he was at. Let's see. He travels all over the place. Okay, interesting. Thanks for sharing that about Jaco. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing okay today. Oh, there's Shelly. Hi, Shelly. I didn't know you were on. That energy spiked huge a little while ago, and I am feeling it. Ears ringing, nausea. Oh, really? The ear ringing, huh? Okay, we have a new mantra. You missed it, Shelly. Our new mantra now is I am love. And we did an affirmation. We'll do it again before we close. But that's all we have to do is whenever the thought comes to us, I am love. These homeless tell me some hide at cemeteries praying to just sleep. Yeah, so you're out there talking with them, huh, Tahoe? And I know your situation, yeah. I know your situation is difficult too. I moved 4 months ago to Stone Mountain. Is that Georgia, Donald? Stone Mountain, Georgia? I thought there was one there. And I was shocked by all of the homeless people around here. Only been gone 10 years, and now they are everywhere. Wow. Wow. You got lots of highs there, Shell. That's right, Donald. There's good to be homeless folks all over the darn place. Holy shit, it's horrible. Where I'm at, we actually don't have them out there on the streets because, like I said, there's nothing to do here. So we don't have a downtown area so much. And they're off. But what I learned, and it kind of surprised me, is they do have them back in the forests. They're hidden. We have a lot of, in the area that I'm at, it's a coastal area of Florida that is quite undeveloped still. And so that's why we came here, because it was cheap to be close to the beach. And so there's a lot of, and that's why there's mosquitoes too, by the way. So there's a lot of undeveloped land here and forestry. And so they're living back in the forests. I don't know how they stand it with the mosquitoes. Yeah, cinnamon basil, Tahoe. Yeah, it's quite good for the digestion. You can make a tea with it. We can't solve everything. Just do the best we can. I know. It's a step by step. It's kind of like we're kind of like babies taking a step every time we do into awakening. We're learning. We're opening our eyes, and those of us that are wise are watching, and we're learning, and we're studying, and we're trying so hard. Just like you see a baby trying so hard, watching you intently when the words are coming out of your mouth, and you can see their little brains are going crazy studying you. And yes, we can't solve everything. We're taking a step by step. We're learning and we're changing, and it's a gradual thing. Nature is always gradual, guys. It's never quick. Cinnamon, clove, basil. Cinnamon, cloves. Oh, cinnamon, clove, basil with a little turmeric. What would that taste like, Happy? I don't know. Maybe. I'm trying to find something for the cinnamon myself that would, go with cinnamon basil. That I have to tell you though, I haven't had time to squeeze it in my hands and smell it yet because the cinnamon, my first batch didn't come up, so this batch is still kind of small. I was surprised at the holy basil. That was a new one for me. I did on the Clean Living channel. I did a recipe for turmeric, ginger, because it was for inflammation. So these were things that were for inflammation. And so it was because you got to mix the things so they taste good too and stuff. It was lemon juice, turmeric, pepper, which increases the turmeric. Black pepper does, and I actually like red pepper I used, but still, pepper increases it, and ginger. And I got to make some. We're all out from that video that I did, so I got to make some more. I never tried that one, so I'm always looking at the tastes, and I'm looking for something where to put that cinnamon basil taste. You grow your basil too, Bill? I know it's wild. If you're in the right area, basil, guys. I have grown basil in the Panhandle. Of course, I've only lived in Florida, but I've grown it in the Panhandle where it's a completely different climate up there. It's like Georgia kind of. And I've grown it in Central Florida, Tampa Bay area, and it thrived crazy, where we were actually at one point selling the basil to restaurants, to local restaurants. So it was growing there. And now even in South Florida, where it's hot as heck and I'm having such a hard time, basil is so easy to grow, guys. And it's also almost like a miracle food. It's for inflammation. Each one has a little different thing, but there's inflammation, there's immune benefits of them. There's antioxidants in them. It's for the digestion. Tim sent me an Instagram. I don't know whether to look at it or not, but I guess he's not on here. But basil has many. Look at. Let me get that for you because I did a video on the ExPharmacist Clean Living channel. And is this true? Hold on, he's got something. ExPharmacist Clean Living channel. And let me get you this. You're going to love this about basil. I went through the different ones when I put my basil garden together. It's actually an inflammation garden, and it talks about all the different types of. Here we go. Here's the Clean Living Lab. Wow, that came right up. All right, and it's out in my garden here, and you can see. Shut that off. Hang on. Gotta go to the right place. Oh, darn, I'm in the wrong one. Okay. Let's go here. I'll have to do it this way. Hold on. All right, got it. All right. So anyway, this is my basils and out by my hydroponics and stuff. You can see I was doing some of my videos outside. Because I love the vibe. The birds are out there, the bunnies are out there. I really love the vibe out there. So I like to go out in nature a lot, but the mosquitoes have been so horrible and the heat has been sweltering. Okay. So I just put that one there about the different types of basils and the different things for inflammation and stuff. Looking at that here, growing just about everything going to work right off the land. Yep. Grocery stores may be closed pretty soon. Well, it depends on where you're at, guys. I don't see that in Florida. I'm seeing a recovery happening here. I'm seeing bold moves by some of the people. Our real estate is really slowed, but the values are still remaining up there. And that's common. That's common in the real estate business. That's what happens. That's how a crash starts to occur. I don't know. I always predicted there would be a crash, that there had to be. But the moves, when you analyze the moves that they're making, and when I did that research about the various ways you can take down a control structure, I don't know if they're going to crash the market. A lot of people would be hurt. I just don't know. Let's see. And I don't know if we're gonna go to that point. In New York, maybe. I think New York's gonna be the, yeah, pesto in all types and different uses. I know, I love it. I wanna find different recipes for it too. Um, sorry, that's the way my mind works, guys. It does a million things at once. Um, I think New York with these grocery stores and this Mandami guy, I don't know if he's not part of the plan, guys. I really don't. I mean, it's too bold. It's kind of like the Biden fake that we talked about the other day. It was too obvious. What these people aren't that stupid to put a man that runs over his feet in charge. They're also not that stupid to put some and in turn. No, I'm not going to say that they wouldn't turn it communist. They might do that, but they'll contain it. That's what I'm saying. I can't see the alliance at this point, the White Hats, allowing them to turn um, New York or any other state communist or even Muslim unless they had control in some way. In some way, they're controlling. So maybe they're controlling some of these legislators that are putting this stuff up about the Muslims. Maybe they're controlling the this Mandami guy. Maybe they're not. But the people have to frigging wake up. That's the whole thing here, guys. That's what this is all about. It's a movie. It's a movie. It's also a chess match. But the game has been won. So I just don't know what parts are part of the movie and what parts aren't. It doesn't have to be uh, John F. K. Jr. coming back from the grave to be part of the movie. And I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying there's lots of ways that the movie could be playing out that we don't know. You got to have all of these different characters that are part of Awakening under control. So I don't know. It's important that people who receive us in stores look proper and welcoming. Yeah, I mean, it was like that saddened me to walk into Costco and see somebody that is clearly does not know their true self and is not happy with their true self. It saddened me, and I like to keep my vibes up. I stay away from buzzkills as much as I can. Um, I went to the Whole Foods in Denver over 20 years ago, and every employee I saw could not tell if they were male or female. I know. It's just absolutely. I could see that in Denver. Yeah. Um, my library has the kindest employees, but all the men now wear nail polish, and it's a different group of people for sure. Even the hospitals, the men wearing nail polish, all tatted up years ago, no go. Well, it's funny you say that because Tim is very self-conscious. He's a rocker, okay, and heavy metal. And the men wore black nail polish back then. They were this hybrid, I guess, between goth and whatever. So yeah, and I think it's healthy to revisit our youth. And there's actually science that says when we play music from our day and when we play, like there's studies that have been done, and there's actually a city built. I thought I did this a long time ago, but it's really an interesting topic. But there's a city not a full city, a community. There's a community built where everywhere people go, and it's for people with Alzheimer's, everywhere people go is like back in the 40s and 50s. The music playing is like back then. They have the theater looks like that. Like an old time theater they have, and the whole thing is set up like that. And um, what they found in their brain scans is it was awakening their brain, and it was bringing back their memories. So it was basically putting them back. Their body was reversing because their mind was in the spot of when they were young, and their body. That's how I understood it. I can do research on this one if you want to see, but I did that with my mom, and I could see a difference. I didn't change her whole house around, but I bought her tapes of Frank Sinatra and big bands that they loved when people were saying, they were getting worried about her and stuff like that. And I saw no problem with her. She didn't forget any more than I did, and I was 20 years younger. So, when we get older, sometimes people that mean well, they sit there and they want to help you and they're concerned and all this stuff about you. Um, and I don't want anybody to be a risk to others, of course, and be driving if they can't see or can't hear. I get all of that, but by the same token, we tend to think that they're not capable of doing a lot of things when they get older. And sometimes I think we make them older by doing that. They're surrounded in a group. So that's just a tip. If you've got an elderly person that, uh, even if they're not experiencing Alzheimer's, but you want them to revert, you want their age and their health to revert, put them back in a time when their body was younger and healing and more capable. Put them in a position when their DNA was in a different place. You know what I'm saying? And buy them that music and, play bingo with them if that's what they used to do or whatever. There's good science on that, guys. So anyway, the point was Tim wears black nail polish, but he's not by any stretch of the imagination unsure about um, his gender. But he likes the black nail polish. It's a rocker thing, I guess. We've bought seeds that grew but did not produce. I'm having a real problem with my tomatoes right now. Receive our heirloom seeds. Oh, both from Bill and Kathy. Good to know, Bill. Good to know. Where are you guys from? Yeah, I'm having a problem with my tomatoes. And like I said, I went to Mexican cucumbers because my cucumbers hated life. I killed them, basically, is what I did because I got white flies on them. And they're also my tomatoes, but I'm picking them manually. So I had never had those before because I was never in such a hot climate. And I sprayed stuff on them that, the AI said to spray on them. And I did it when it was hot. And then I did it once when it was night with a different one. And I totally killed them. So now the best way is to pick them off, pick those white flies off. And I bought some strips for them too. There's different climates. You have to do it differently, I guess. Okay, so it's Bill and Kathy. Bill and Kathy. That's wonderful. I'm happy for you guys. Okay. And let's see. I hate they have GMO fruits and veggies. Yeah, I know. So that you know if it's organic, it's not GMO. Okay. So if you buy organic or you go to places, we're looking right now for places where you can go get organic, but we just have nothing. I looked to find another place to go. If you've got an Amish around you, an Amish community, man, I would drive 2 hours to go to an Amish community. We just don't have one that sells food here in South Florida, anywhere in Florida that I know of. Um, and of course, if they're not, if they're only GMO and they're not organic, you know that you can put the baking soda in water and soak them. I saw Tim comes home and he always sends me these videos. And his newest guru is this Asian lady, and she has all these simple old things, and she's old. And one of the things she did was you have to put salt. You don't do this. You must put your broccoli in salt and water. Now, I don't know where this lady was from, but maybe she's in the Orient. I don't know. But she put it in this salt water, and these black worms were coming out of her broccoli, scaring the hell out of me. So, because I was going to make a broccoli salad, so I bought broccoli. It wasn't organic, but I put it in with the baking soda, which is salt, right? Not one bug came out of my broccoli. So everything with a grain of salt, guys, everything. But it doesn't hurt to take it off because the pH of the poisons that they put on them is acidic. So when you put it in the baking soda, it neutralizes the poisons that are on there. Let's see. It's not nuts. They know your kindness and care. I'm not sure where that went from. Okay. But probably to somebody else. Let's see. Well, you guys are really chatting up today. He moved after Christmas. I might miss some. Yes, I did. I would love. I did watch Silent Running, and it was wonderful. I shared it on my channel. No, it was wonderful, Tahoe. It was absolutely wonderful. I wish I could play it on here, but I can't take the copyright strike of playing the music. Um, but what's it about, guys? Let me. Let's see. Hold on. Let me. It's not on YouTube. Is the problem? It's not on YouTube. Let me go to my stream here. If you're on, you should be able to play this even if you're not on X. They usually let you play that. Or if anybody else has a link to it, you're gonna love it, guys. Come on, did it a couple days ago. But remember that song, Can You Hear Me Running? Um, Tim made me look up the lyrics to see if they were the real ones because it's put to a Trump collage of really, really great things. I'm going to have to search it. What was it called? Silent Running. Silent Running. And I'm going to give you a link. Oh, there you go. I'm right on there. Is that it? I'm going to play it for a sec. Yes, it is. All right, guys. Let me get you this. You should be able to put it. And it is really cool. I'm going to put it in the description as well. But if you want to watch this or save it or whatever, I'm going to put it right here for you. It's great. And I made a comment on my X on it. You should be able to play it, even if you don't have X. There you go. I just put it on the bottom. But I didn't know about the words to that song. And my remark on X was, when you listen to the words of that song, Silent Running, and I never knew that was the name of the song. It was Tim looked up Tim inherently knew who the musician was. But it fits so perfectly to what we're going through today that I almost wondered if it wasn't part of Awakening back then when they did that, which was, Tim and I looked it up. It was in the 80s, I think. And yeah, it's really a great link. I thank you for that. I wish I could play it for us here, but and I would, but I know I'd get a copyright strike on that song. Let me see. Okay, we did that down. Yeah. And it's so Happy said the thing. And Happy, I think that pretty much goes for everybody that's on this particular live stream right now. And Happy's comment was he was talking to Bill, I think, or somebody, Bill and Kathy, or somebody. But he said, "That's right, brother. The same page, yearning and learning." And that's the thing, guys. We yearn for awakening. Every day we're learning. So we're learning every day. It's amazing, and I learned from that. It's amazing, guys. Great heart, Tahoe. We all need to think of how to give back. We really do. So Tahoe is, last week or Tuesday, we decided that Tahoe, we were going to think about her a lot in our day, and I have numerous times just sent her an "I love you," and I know some of you guys have too. And what she did for us today is she gave us a special gift with her story about the homeless lady and bringing up the homeless problem and how we can help. And it doesn't have to only be homeless people. My my charities have always been sick kids, the elderly, and animals. Basically, um, the 3 demographics that rely on us. They rely on us, and, they're unable to take care of themselves, and that's where I tend to give my stuff. I don't ever, and you can say what you want. Why is his hair sticking funny here? It's terrible to look at yourself. Um, I don't ever add the money at the store. You know, "Oh, do you wanna donate that change? Do you wanna" because all it is a tax write-off for the store, guys. Y If you're gonna do that, every time you do, say, "Yeah, I am, but I'm gonna donate it, and I'm gonna put it in a cup at home." And then when you have that $10 or whatever, then buy somebody something. "Here, let me pay for this, it'll help you out." Buy their bridge toll, buy their whatever, buy them a cold drink if they're out working hard. I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm saying? Because those corporations, number 1, they have administrative costs they take out of your donation, and it's nothing but a tax write-off for them. It's just the fact of life. So I don't ever leave my money, I don't donate at the stores because I understand how the system works, and that is nothing more than a tax write-off for them, and money is taken out of it. I'd rather be more effective and use that money myself. Um, yes, ask agencies that take in homeless, have hotels take the overflow. There's such an overflow, Patricia, such an overflow. And again, now you tell me, maybe I'm wrong here, guys. We haven't even gotten to any of the content I had, but that's okay. I think we're really doing good here. Um, Another thing that is part of the homeless problem is mental illness and drug abuse. And we just simply cannot continue to support that. We've got to come up with solutions to those as part of the a whole comprehensive homeless problem. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. What do you do with somebody? If, you know, if somebody is mentally ill, or there's an intake into these agencies, right? If somebody's mentally ill, then there is some kind of, place that they go, that they're taken in, where they get treatment. And doctors, could you imagine? Maybe doctors could donate their time and go into this agency. I mean, I know that they go across the pond, and there's, Doctors Without Borders and all this stuff. Maybe, once a week, once a month, if enough doctors that wanted to make up for what they did during COVID decided that maybe I can volunteer, maybe we can get together, a group of us, and we can volunteer for mental illness treatment, for the homeless, for health care for them. Um, and the same with, why does everybody, I know we have to make money, but why can't we give 1 day a week? If you're a rehabilitation, a drug rehab counselor, why can't we take 1 day a week, 3 hours, and go donate some of our time? The people have to start giving more, and that's what's gonna solve this problem for people. So yes, I did, and you're not a broken record. I appreciate you reminding me. No one should be on the street. Yeah, I agree. But Patricia, my daughter and her hubby had this one lady they saw over and over and over again, and they would put her up in a hotel, several times, many times, and they even got a hold of her family for her, and her family told them that, and the lady told them she wanted to live on the street. And was it mental illness? I think it was. So first what do you do with somebody that's determined they're not going to be controlled by their family, or they don't want help from anybody, they don't wanna owe anybody? There's got to be some kind of guidance for people like this. You know what I'm saying? They need some kind of guidance. I don't know what it is yet, but I've always been a big believer that schools should have affirmations, and those affirmations are not DEI flags and trans flags hanging all over them. Children should write affirmations like we used to write on the bulletin board. There should be a meditation time, not just a laying on the floor and rest time. No, give them a meditation rest. I've been a big believer. There should be stuff like this, and I hope there are in our schools in the future. 'Cause children, their minds are so pliable. They're so fresh, and the cells in their brain are so fluid, and can you imagine if you would have accessed your consciousness, higher levels of consciousness at the age of 5, and some have, but if it was put in the curriculum to evolve vibrationally, you know what I'm saying? Classes on how to deal with anger, how to do self-love. And I'm not saying, yes, there's gotta be the math and all that stuff. Maybe these are electives. I don't know, because my grandson just got into high school, and he only has 1 elective, and it was kind of odd. I forget what it was, but there was 1 elective that he could change and 1 that was what I believe it's not an elective if you can't change it, but it had something to do with this DEI, accept other people's stuff, and he couldn't change that elective. Uh, yeah, and exactly, Helen, that's what I was thinking, sweetheart, is that there are some homeless people that don't wanna be part of the system. I don't know, that's the biggest problem I see is that these wrinkles. The biggest problem I see is that they either don't know how, or they're in a loop. They're in a loop of destitution. And I think that can change. I think that can change when the collective vibration of the world changes and they begin, instead of seeing all of this negative that we're seeing, and that's necessary. I think there's probably a second part of the awakening. Instead of all of that negativity, and this pervert got arrested, and this person that was bringing Muslims in and doing bam, 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 bam. And we're able to see this for what it is, and it doesn't depress us. But if you don't see it for what it is, then it can really, you know, lower your frequency. So I think there's gonna be a part 2 where we will be bombarded with higher frequencies of love, of hope, of gratitude, of all of the higher frequencies. I think there's gonna be a second phase to all of this, and that's how we're gonna help the homeless. They've gotta get out of that low vibrational loop. Um, we did say years ago in Tahoe, he knew people were watching him, but I was unsure what to think, being he said he was former CIA. I don't know much about that. I mean, like I said, I don't watch other people anymore. Don't know what to say about that. Helen, some homeless won't stop their addiction. But the thing is, Patricia, if they found self-love, and I don't know how you do that, if they were taught manifestation techniques, if the truth was put out there, I mean, if our government, our scientists came out and said that what you think creates your universe, and we're gonna teach you how to manifest higher consciousness. If that came out officially, would these people that are stuck in their addictions, I can't imagine it because they hate it. They know it. They just don't have the skills that it takes to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine somebody wants to sit there and enjoys being in that position of addiction. Even people that are addicted to try and find some joy, or they just get high because they wanna be happy. Teach people how to be happy without it. You know what I'm saying? That's what's gotta happen. And I do believe that because we're being guided by the Federation, of Worlds, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, I believe that because we're being guided by them, that all of this is part of the plan. They've done this many, many times before with many civilizations, and they know how to pull us out of this where we've gone. They know what's necessary to wake people up, and they know how to pull us back out. Many of us had to move because of what we are doing. We're putting the truth out there. Um, you know, I stayed behind the screen for a long time. Uh, and if they wanted to find me, they could. Um, and like I said, when I worked for the state, I did have life threats on my life and the life of my parent. My parents were being surveilled as well, um, in my office staff too. But I don't entertain that anymore. I don't entertain that they're trying to do anything to me. Yes, they're censoring me. Yes, they've demonetized me. I can only act from love. I can only act from love, and the and selflessness at this point. I can't. I'm not going to say I can only. That is the only thing I can entertain and strive for, and whatever that requires. If it requires moving, then I see it as okay. I had to do that, but I'm not entertaining that. I'm saying it's time for awakening for all of us. The fear has to be gone, and you know, I have not had any problem. Um, I don't I've touched on some really the worst I've had is demonetization, censorized, uh, and declined, to upload some of my videos. So, yeah, I only have 100,000 people, but, um, so I'm not, like, on the major radar, but I believe the people that are on the major radar were allowed and, um, pushed to get that high. I think they're controlled, a lot of them. A lot of them are controlled. So, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't, I remember I go back to the days, Godlewski, gosh, he taught me so much because in the beginning, I bought that guy. I bought it. Okay. He's not in jail. He pled to a lower thing. Apparently, it's not public, but he has a new girl by his side, it seems. So I guess Kerry, when he pled, I don't know what the deal was. I don't care about his drama. But do you remember when he was constantly, oh, the network's out, they're after me, they're after me. Yeah, Trump is sending me a message. All of this stuff, I just can't. I know one thing, and that is to live in love, to nurture and attract. And maybe that's because you know, I have thought about this a little bit, guys. And I think it's because although I studied all of the military angle of everything for many, many years, and the psychological part of the demons and so forth, I studied that for years. But then when I came into this arena of going on uh, on the internet and becoming a source and living out what I believe is my dharma of awakening, I was immediately approached by Dan Willis. And Dan guided me in the direction of the higher frequencies of the extraterrestrials. And so I think that I have this background of the military, hang them, hang them by their balls. I have that background. Um, of they're after me and the military and the all of the what do you call that? What was traditionally the conspiracy theories? Okay, they're not conspiracy theories anymore. I believe any of it. But the new conspiracy theory now, I guess, is that there is that connection to a higher self, and it's more materialized than we ever imagined it was. It's very, very real. So I strive deliberately not to get involved in all that. Yes, I put this stuff together, but, you know, if they screw up my internet connection or, I'll take it as part of the path. You know what I'm saying? And like you guys, if I have to move, I'll move, um, and I'll say that this is where the universe sent me now. This is where the universe is meant for me to go. So, don't know. Don't know what lemon is. Lemon, lemon, lemon. I'm missing something there, Donald. Lyman? You're talking about that crazy, newscaster on CNN? I don't know. I'm on Agrinox for stroke. Had 3 years ago, so don't think I can have cinnamon ginger and stuff. I don't know that because it's a new drug. Let me just check something. Hold on. Oh, I did this for, Vixen. I don't know where Vixen's been. She's missed too. I hope she's okay. But let me just find this for a second for you. Um, there is a food drug interaction checker. And I'm gonna put this link for you. Certainly, food-based things like basil should not be a problem. Um, Food RX, that's on Medscape, that's drug. I wanna make sure even common foods. Let me just see if this one's any better because a new one just popped up. But what you do is you go and you put in your drugs and, you put everything, general instruction to eat what you benefit from. I'm gonna put a couple of them down here, okay? This is Food RX Check. I've never used this one before, but it's worth a try. There's one, and let me get you the one I've used before. This doesn't have an extensive, RXpedia. Here's another one. Let's see. Okay, this is a one-on-one thing, so you can put in the drug. You can actually input, like you could put cinnamon basil. And remember, cinnamon basil is not cinnamon. Um, it may have some of the components in it, but there's so many things in these foods and stuff. It's not like taking just a drug. This is another one I have for you, the RXpedia. And then I'm going to show you the one that you can put in. It's less on food. Let me get that for you. Hold on. Um, it was Medscape. Yeah. This one here, you can put multiple drugs. It's a very beneficial one. And these things don't get you into the, here's Medscape. So if you're on multiple drugs, you can put them in there. It's just a follow-up, guys. We've talked about it so many times. Doctors practice, okay? I can tell you that they don't know, or I can't say never talk absolutes. Many, 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 the bulk of physicians do not understand drug interactions. Okay, so they're clueless, and I mean even the most serious because they're simply not trained. They don't have that much training on drugs. So uh, always check, guys. And those are a couple of resources that you can see, but usually food takes much longer. So there are some things like licorice is known to elevate your blood pressure and so forth that you shouldn't take um, if you've had a stroke. But uh, that's how usually, in most cases, it's not a drug-food interaction. Yes, they can occur. Yes, grapefruit is notorious for it. So, yes, they can occur, but usually, it's not a it's not common if they're foods. Now, dietary supplements and herbs are a completely different thing, but if they're foods and you don't overdo and you use them like cooking, like basil. Don't eat bags of basil. Don't. Take capsules of oregano, which are much more concentrated, because that's when interactions can occur. When you just add a little bit of spice to your foods and so forth, you're doing both. Um, let's see. Go up here. Yes, Trump's silent running. Yes, that's the one we were talking about. I linked it. I just wasn't sure years ago if he was still working on the side. I stopped watching Nino and Scott Patriot Street Fighter, and he was close with them. Yeah, Nino is not as bad as the other one that I mix up with him. Um, Big one. He was another fighter. I think Nino is more clueless than dark. Let's put it that way. But it's just his vibes is why, and I don't listen to anybody, so it's nothing against Nino specifically. I just don't listen. Very, very, very few other people because I don't want to parrot misinformation. The Patriot Street Fighter. He was friends, I thought, with Trump at one point, but I'm learning now that people like Godlewski and others, that they might meet up with Trump at a rally or something and get to shake his hands, and then they act like they're best buddies. So you got to watch out for that too. But I thought at one point, um, Trump had mentioned the Street Fighter. I don't know. I don't know. I saw a program about a guy that was going around raising awareness about the homeless being targeted and disappearing down in Texas. He's searching for a friend he hadn't seen in a few days. Wow. Wow. I know it happens. And then don't you wonder how many of, because we've heard about child trafficking, right? We've all heard about that these kids, they disappear and they never come back. But organ trafficking is another huge, huge thing. And Tim told me about a friend that he actually knew somebody that a Canadian when up in Canada, or he read it, maybe I don't know, but it was validated that a guy came down. I think it was Las Vegas. He went on vacation to Las Vegas, maybe met a stripper, some girl. It was a girl that he met. He woke up in a bathtub full of ice with a kidney missing. So, and she was gone, obviously. So they do harvest organs, and we talked a little bit about it, how they are pushing people. I changed my driver's license from being a donor since all of this stuff is going on with organ donations and stuff. But I also wonder how many of these homeless may also be targeted for organs. You know what I'm saying? Obviously not the drug addict that, but they're not all drug addicts, guys, and they're not all really old. There are younger people that have had a bad break. They've lost their home. They don't know what to do. So, terrible, terrible. Let's see. I just wasn't sure years ago if he was still. Oh, okay, yeah, saw that, saw that. Your thought, just pull up YouTube, the Justin Belushi one. Watch it, Patricia. Tell me your thought. Yeah, it was really, really good, I thought. And it's just more Q validations from what I see. There were pictures in it that were on the Q boards years ago and so forth. It touched me. It was great. Maybe I'm missing something else, but I watched it several times. Shelley, haven't seen or heard of this person you are referring to. Bill Hale. Let's see, Shelley. Uh, oh, I see. Okay. Uh, yeah, when somebody scares you, that's not cool. I don't think he's doing it deliberately. I think he's not balanced, and um, he he may just be a real demonstrative person. When I worked at Moffitt Cancer Center, I told you we did a 2-week training before we ever got on the floor, before the hospital even opened, because I was one of the first pharmacists there, first 16, and we had to take courses, and we learned, we were trained on how different ethnicities of people respond differently to pain. And this was specifically to pain because obviously it was a cancer institute and an AIDS institute. But and it told us how Italians, they're da, 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 and German people will hold it inside and not complain about their pain. So, I think Nino is Italian. I'm Italian, so he might be kind of excitable, and he has, and I get a little excited too. But I've learned not to with my excitement, I want to be enthusiasm. Um, Not fear. You know what I'm saying? Fear sucks. There's no place for it. Um, okay, Shelley. Now his screaming is why I stopped watching, but now just get all my 411 here in Spirit Channel. Oh, you're a sweetheart, Tahoe. Um, yeah, I thought he did too. He told people not to believe in the med beds. And, we've got, I had Dan, who I trusted, and President Trump put that video out there. And what I know now, in my research about how the brain works, absolutely, they're coming. Um, I haven't talked about the flock cameras. I don't know what the flock to think about these things. I know that was a bad joke, I know. Um, yeah, I haven't talked about them, and I'm mixed. The cameras themselves don't bother me, especially in this day and age. I mean, we're watched everywhere. I remember years ago, 10 years ago, in Ybor City near Tampa, it was like a hot spot where a lot of young people went to, and they had cameras, and I'm not sure what these flock cameras. It's my understanding that they take your tag as you drive by. They have those. I don't like them in the toll booths because then you get this thing in the mail and you have to, pay it and online, and it's a pain in the butt. I just rather throw my change in there for $1.30, and then it turns into $2.40 when it's doubled or whatever. If I don't see that or we don't pay it, and then at some point they can actually, I guess, suspend your license if you don't pay these tolls. So those kind of things, I don't like them being used on tolls. But for security reasons, I don't have a problem, and I see it like anything else, that uh, there is potential for misuse. Apparently, somehow I'm seeing that police are somehow using them, or other people are using them, and um, I see them also as a security. That I know that they now, which is one of the best things, they can take somebody that murdered somebody and see them, but there's other cameras. So what is the difference between the flock? Isn't the flock just just tag readers of some kind? You know, uh, Here's one thing that I'm always suspicious of. It came out all at once like it was a seeded distraction. We've had these cameras on us for years. Nobody has a problem with it. They can sniff what's in your home with a device that drives by your house. Nobody cares about that. Who's the young man? Snowden. Snowden comes out and tells us that they're not only listening to everything you say, but they're logging it in a database and creating a profile about you. Nobody cared. Now, all of a sudden, there's this narrative that flock cameras have to be taken down. It sounds like a narrative. Is all I'm saying. Um, East Texas. East Texas. Okay. I thought I was going to get raped and killed, molested and killed in a place called Beaumont, Texas, years ago. I was driving through there. I drove into Texas to pick up a bed that I ordered online. And it was a big iron bed, and I had to borrow a friend's pickup truck because I never had pickup trucks. Always had little convertibles. And it was one of those brand new ones with this expandable back or something. And man, I'll never go through that town again. Never. They stopped me. They searched me without any cause. Um, 2 of them, I literally thought that they had no reason to stop me. I wasn't doing anything wrong, and they just started asking me questions and looking for receipts for the bed I was going to go. I mean, very invasive. I was scared to heck. Do I have a grocery outlet? No, but what we do have is some place called Sunflower. Sunflower Market, and it has sometimes organic, but not a lot. And we're finding some organics in Aldi these days. That Sunflower gets a lot of stuff from Whole Foods and Sprouts and all of these health places. They get a lot of stuff from there that are short dated or outdated packaging. And they've changed the packaging, or maybe it's just something that they've discontinued off their shelves. And so I found some maple sugar, jars of pure maple sugar. And I had never seen anything like that. I've lived in Florida most of my life, and it was tasty. It was real good. Let's see. I use a 3-tier method to clean veggies and fruit. In water, baking soda, rinse, vinegar, rinse 3 times, and salt. That's smart. That's very smart. So the vinegar puts the acidity back into it. See, I know everything from a chemical standpoint. So it sounds like the vinegar puts the acidity back into it, which preserves it. Mike and the mechanics, you got it, girlfriend. Of course, in cold water, then dry well or store in paper towels. Yep. Yes, I'm making some zucchini squash right now. I use my citrus-based organic soap wash thoroughly. Citrus-based organic. So that's acidic, okay. And then spray them off with food-grade peroxide. All right. Everybody does a different way. No offense, but why are our people helping overseas but not enough here? It's no, it's not. It's a valid question. There should be no offense. It's a valid question. Um, you know, once the United States has its act together, see, but you have to understand, this is a structure. Remember the control structure, Tahoe, that for decades we have been sending money to these countries all over the world. Trump has cut, and we were running NATO and the World Health Organization. It was all our money, and nobody was putting their share in. So that's why he's pulling out of all of this stuff, is to save a lot of that money. And that's why he's cut off these NGOs, because that's another way. I don't know that we have many systems in which our government directly transfers money to another government. It's all done through NGOs and agreements. What do you call those? Contracts with other countries in exchange for whatever. And he's destroying all of that. I see it all being taken down. So you're absolutely right. I mean, when he said "Make America Great Again," he was talking more. He was talking about in every way. He was talking about getting rid of the homeless, getting rid of the starving, getting rid of the theft from our program, getting rid of the taxes. And you're right. If we're too diverse. Now, the whole thing about Iran, though, and what happened in Argentina, you have to realize that there was a plan that happened in his first term, an agreement, a capitulation when the alliance was formed, right? There were agreements made, and there's a plan that we have to go by. So there are countries that are holding the whole world back. That we have to contain those countries, and we've got to get their leaders on board with the awakening. And so for that reason, I think it's critical. And does humanitarian stuff come? Yeah, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to these thieves that are driving Ferraris on our dime. So it just got way out of hand. And the reason it got out of hand was because the more money we spend helping others, the more money can be stolen from us. Okay, so that's what's happened. It's part of the structure. It's built in. Remember, there is the medical matrix, there's the banking matrix, there's the educational matrix, there's the charity matrix. And that was what I was talking about with the whole Mother Teresa video. There's the charity matrix. And all of these matrices have to come down, and they are coming down. So you're right. We shouldn't be, there's times to give money to other people, and there's times not to. It had gotten way out of hand. I think the people overseas appreciate what little they have. That's why they help others, I think. Here, most are criminals or absolutely 100. I don't know, Happy. I'm seeing, we have, I don't know if you know Susan. Now, Israel is actually, she lives in Israel. And they do that a lot. But other people that I talk to that are, oh, like our beautiful little Vixen, um, they're they can't walk. The people, the good people, can't walk on the streets. So it's kind of like some of these countries is like, uh, I don't know, because I live in Florida and it's very safe, but she's afraid to go outside. She lives in a neighborhood that is inundated with illegals that are offensive and threatening to her. I don't live in that universe where I have to be afraid to go out and be threatened to people. So there are people overseas. When you say overseas, that's like saying the world, okay? Overseas is a big world out there, and there's some that are, everybody's brainwashed. Everybody, all of the countries across the world are brainwashed. But there's some that are brainwashed more than others. Some that are brainwashed to hate others, that their way is the only way, and to kill others. And so when you got that, okay, you it's kind of a big term to say that they appreciate it. Some do, some do. And one thing, that I saw, bringing them here didn't help matters. I can tell you this, because I used to go to Jamaica quite a lot, and I found the people quite humble. Now, I never, I know there is a bad element there too, a very bad element. They tried to kidnap my daughter and drain her blood, according to several people that I explained the incident to. So there's dangerous parts there. It was my stupid fault because I venture out where I shouldn't go sometimes. And but the people that lived there were the working class were so kind and so humble. We wanted a shirt at the market, and it was going to be closed the next day. One that said, Jamaica, no problem. And we wanted a white full cotton one. And she didn't have anything like the Pirates of the Caribbean with the cotton stuff. She didn't have anything there. And so we said, okay, and we were going to move on to the next thing. And she said, no, I'll go home. I'll make tonight and meet you here tomorrow. And we're like, okay, okay. But, the thing is closed tomorrow. And we thought she was trying to rip us off at first. And she said, no, you pay me if you like. You pay me if you like it. You come back tomorrow and meet me at this time. And she said, would you like me to put, and we had already said Jamaica, no problem, and all this on it. Explained it to her. I'll be darned if that woman went home and didn't stay up all night and make a shirt for us. It was exactly what we wanted. She wanted $20 for it. We gave her $50. Mrs. Murdoch was her name. We still remember her name. And every year we'd go to Jamaica, we'd go back to her booth, and we'd see her. And another one, we went to this all-inclusive couples resort. And so your food's included, right? If you go on a ship, and your food's included, the waitress, the service is okay, but only because you have to tip them more after that. But in the all-inclusive restaurants, you're not allowed to tip them more. And the all-inclusive resorts, it includes everything. And you can get as much as you want. And I said to our waiter, I said, why is the service so impeccable when you're already going to get tipped no matter what, when the tip is not extra? Why? He said, because we understand that Jamaica needs you. You make our life better. They were very humble people. So there's some places they get a bad rep. I think there's good and bad in all. Uh, your honey that passed away told me when he played sports, his coach taught them meditation, and this was long ago. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It should be in our schools. I really believe so. His spirit, affirmation, and healing frequency playing in the background. Yep, absolutely. Self love and discipline. If our children only had that in the daytime. Oh, is Daddy home? Oh, let me unlock the door for Tim. Hold on. Hang on, baby. Hang on, baby. All right, you go. Eat up. Go on the deck. Go on the deck. Okay, take it. You can watch as long as you're outside the pool. Okay, sorry guys. He came in through the pool because he didn't want to disturb me, and Pico was barking, and I didn't unlock the pool doors. So, okay. Uh, Bill and Kath say we have programs to rehab abused, trafficked women. Yes, it helps them get a job and back into society. The donation centers focus on giving to these organizations. But here's the problem. Here's the problem that we find so many. Like if you, I don't know if you saw that Mother Teresa video that I did, but so many of these agencies that were for pregnant women, they exist because they feed the trafficking. They feed the trafficking. So, I worry so much about these. I don't know what to do with some of these agencies when they're stealing. It's almost like we have to revamp and have a whole new system and a quantum system where the money can be traced. You know what I'm saying? We need something. Teach young students to give and help others. Yeah. My daughter always was an empath. She's not now, but when she was little, she'd always befriend the underdog. And she was a real pretty little girl. She had long, straight, uh, dark hair, and she was dark skinned from the Italian and the American Indian. And she was one of the ones, the popular pretty girls that they always liked. And she would always befriend the underdog. So yeah, that's what we need more. I mean, if kids get in an argument in school, why aren't these teachers taking them in and having a discussion and using that as a teaching moment for the kids? I don't know. I know I wish there was a way to help our children, and I really do. The homeless 77-year-old lady confided in me she doesn't think she can live anymore. Oh, Tahoe. Gave her a hug and told her, "Did you tell her that you felt the same way at one time?" I mean, oh gosh. Told her, "No, we need you here." My heart hurts. Tahoe, your transformation has been amazing, sweetheart. You guys just feed my soul. You really do. Because I gotta remember, I know each of you don't all know each other, but I know every one of you from day one. And I've watched how angry some of you were and how destitute some of you were. And even now dealing with problems. And I see angels in every one of you. I see star seeds in you guys. I really do. You were meant to evolve, and you are. Happy says, back in the old days, we were encouraged to learn based on knowledge, helping others, being able to be counted on, and use more spiritual, natural ways to heal. It's the nature. It's the nature too, Happy. I remember there was a child with epilepsy in my grammar school, and kids, if they're not taught right, if they're not taught right, they used to make fun of this boy when he'd have a seizure, and I would cry and go call the teacher and stuff. And I mean, I was 5 or 6 years old here. Kids, by nature, gotta start, and the parents need trained, you know what I'm saying? The parents need trained to create more responsible children, more evolved children. It's got to come from the ground up, you know? This morning, I woke up, my phone showed a huge busy in Savannah, Georgia, children found in cargo, and boy, the person, thank God, kept digging to look into this, even though the paperwork showed it looked legit. Woke up, my phone showed a huge busy in Savannah, Georgia. Children found. I'm assuming it's some kind of notice in a cargo, and boy, the person, thank God, kept digging to look into it. I know it's but here's the thing, guys. Imagine how much of this was going on before Trump put his foot down. Can you imagine what we're seeing now? And then this is being watched and having these like crime. I think this getting rid of all of these foreign drivers, not foreign, but illegal drivers is going to be truck drivers. It's going to be huge for the trafficking situation. I think it's going to be huge. Trafficking and drugs, because I think they're engaged in. I felt Nino was helped control. Godlewski, something else. That guy pretended he was secret intelligence. Everybody was eating it up. I know. He was unreal, wasn't he? What balls that guy had. I don't, I couldn't live in the stress that he had the law coming down on multiple people exposing him. He had newspapers in your town. In your town, the newspaper is saying that you're a child molester. And he just kept going like the ever-ready bunny. That guy, I think he needs to be put in jail. I hate to say that, but I think he might need to be. Robert David Steele is alive. Do I believe that? Don't know. It was rather abrupt, wasn't it? I don't know. Yes, I think he's hiding out like Christy W. Kirsty. Happy thinks that yes, he is. I thought that back then, but to be honest with you, it hasn't even been in my my universe there. Who was the guy that came on Nino? I follow him daily. He comes through my podcast with update. I don't watch Nino. Sorry, Happy. I swear, maybe somebody else does. I swear, when I listen to a few Jared Rand episodes and a couple others, massive spiritual war. Oh, darn it, killed on me. Here we go. Massive spiritual warfare type attacks. It was crazy, so I stay here only. Yeah, well, there's some there's some people that were really instrumental into awakening that have turned to the dark side. I don't know why. A very good friend of Dan's did turn to the dark side, and he confirmed, Dan Willis, and he confirmed that to me. So, I mean, I don't think they were like this, but Dan trusted him. So, and he was solid as gold. He'd been in that community for a long time. So I'm just saying, you have to go by the vibes, guys. If you walk away feeling afraid, you gotta, and then again, like I've said a million times, it's the subliminal stuff that's going on. Also, you have to be careful of. So I don't let anybody plant anything into my head subliminally at all. Bill, is it Juan? Not sure where that came from, but I'm sure you guys are watching for your names. Happy as Tahoe, I believe Robert. So Patricia also believes Robert David Steele is alive. I thought so in the beginning. I just haven't been. It hasn't been in my universe. Bill and Kathy, thanks. These are new websites. Appreciate the time. Of course. My estranged sister with the doctor husband, they live on Advil and Aleve all day. I'll tell you what, Aleve destroyed my mom's kidneys. It was temporary, and luckily we caught it quick. I didn't know she was taking it, but tell them, well, you know, he's strange. He's a doctor. He knows everything. But yeah, it caused kidney failure in my mom. Or did you see P&G, Procter and Gamble bought Thorne Supplement Company on 8.4. No, I didn't know that, for 8.3. That's what did I say? The new pharma, the new big pharma is going to be supplement companies. So much for them being a top company anymore. I said Thorne was having issues the last few years before they sold that. Yeah, they're buying out everything. That's going to be the new big pharma, and that's why, you know, it's more than what I know about big pharma. Okay, that's one angle. Yeah, we fear the contamination and all that stuff. But when you begin to understand and begin to live holistically, you don't put those things in your mouth. And if you do, you do it on a very limited basis. Holistically is with all of the universe, in my opinion, with nature. Like Happy was saying, it's a connection that is holistic. And for that reason, I'm not saying never. I'll take an aspirin here and there. I only use the orange enteric coated ones because they don't dissolve in the stomach. They dissolve in the small intestine and then they're absorbed. So if you do take aspirin, I use the enteric coated. Donald wants something. He's got to use his phone for baby's working. Isn't he wonderful? Can you believe this group? Well, we missed you, Donald. Except Patricia, she can't find you. Did you know Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter, owns some of these healing places with EES systems? You pay to sit in rooms with these healing cubes. So is Tony Robbins involved? Owns them too. You know, you have to understand Tahoe too. Doesn't surprise me in the least bit. There's many players that have roles in this. Tony Robbins, he's always been an entrepreneur, always. And he has his place as a motivational speaker. He's motivated me in many ways. So there's a need for motivational speakers. There's also a need for people to reveal disclosure that's going on. And there's a need for people to help raise us to a higher evolution. They're not all one and the same. You know what I'm saying? So because somebody understands and practices vibrational healing doesn't mean that they probably don't. I know I don't. I'm not. I've always made it just fine, but I've never been a great entrepreneur. I had many chances and I had successful businesses, but I never, it was kind of something like Tony Robbins always said in the back of my head. I never wanted them to become too successful because I didn't want them to overwhelm me. I wanted to do what I did right. You know what I'm saying? So for that reason, I'll probably be broke for the rest of my life, but I'll always have enough is what I know. I'll always have enough to make me happy. So, you know, that's their business. I know that people are selling the patches as well. I told you the story of patches with me where I spent a lot of work on it. I did a lot of stuff, a lot of research on them. That I had one patient that bought them. They didn't work. I've had, she died. And she was on them for months. And the people that turned me on to it, they dogged me. They were pushy. They were, and this is not all people, mind you. There's certain, it's a multi-level marketing thing. And they were pushy. They kept dogging me and wanting me to get into these rah-rah sessions with them. And, you know, been there, done it. My parents, what's that old one? Not Tupperware, one of the original multi-level marketing things where they go to Gold Diamond Weekend and all of this. Amway. My parents did that. They were, to a point, they were so brainwashed by that thing that they were going to miss my college graduation because it was Go Diamond weekend. Apparently, they had a change of mind when I told them I couldn't believe they were doing that. But, so I don't get into that stuff. I put my links up. I'll find a way to monetize. Eventually, it'll come. The way I feel about it is I'm not pushing it. I wait for the universe to present to me what my role is and give me my reward when it's time. It'll lead me there if there's a way. I've been thinking, somebody mentioned that buy me a coffee thing. I might do that because we bounced like $300 in the business in the ExPharmacist account last 2 weeks ago. So I might do a buy my coffee thing. It's hurt me since they've cut me off and I get no monetization, but we'll see. And if they make a fortune, God bless them. I hope they do. I just don't have that kind of money. And this is what I do now. Got that backwards. It's 3.8 billion they bought for. Wow. Big money, huh? Yep. It's going to be the new big pharma. You can bank on that one, I think. Really, that's interesting. I follow Scott McKay daily. I have to look into that with Patriot Street Fighter. I'm not sure what that is. A while back, Nestle purchased Pure. They all do, guys. They all do. If you look, one thing I did, this was a short I did somewhere, but I looked because I loved Mallow cups as a child. Loved them, loved them, loved them, loved them, loved them. And they had some at this sunflower market that I told you that's so cheap that I went to. And I saw them and I wanted to buy them so bad, but I picked them up and I looked and they had something really bad in it, high fructose corn syrup or something in it really bad. So I went and I looked and started doing research. The candies were completely different formulations back then. They're bought out. The big companies, yes, they're all being bought out. Nestle's, they're all gone pure. That's, you make a really good point on that, Happy, is that all of these companies that have poisoned us now have a pure line to poison us with, or a organic or healthy line. That they don't say organic, the healthy line to poison us with. They all have that. So health. Yes, Happy. I think he owns one of the largest centers in Texas, and Tony Robbins, and his business partner own one in Vegas. Well, I'm glad Tony's getting into the into frequency healing because actually he's the one that turned me on to the Lemurian frequencies. So I have him to thank for that. Years and years, 2010, I think it was, or 9, something like that. And I sought this out and I found Lemuria. So about being spied on and tracked all the time, invasion of privacy. I know, Helen, but baby, that cat was let out of the bag decades ago, and that's why I'm saying the worst intrusion was what Snowden found to me. To keep a database on me, and then every device I buy has got a camera. Hi, whoever's watching this right now besides you guys, everything. And I don't think we can put that back in. I just don't think we can put that back in. I don't know. Hi, Donald, back again. I will definitely look into that Tahoe. By the way, I'm on Scott McKay's team, Operation Tomahawk, selling pure essential foods, meats, hygiene, and cleaning part to my channel. Hey, Donald. Is that like the Malaluka Nino and Godlewski were involved in? I know there were a couple companies, but when I heard about it, there were no groceries, just overpriced items. Yeah, that's the thing, guys. Again, yeah, they did try to kidnap my daughter. The Malaluka, there's hundreds of them. Every day there's a new miracle Keep in mind, guys, when you take the plant, if you want Melaleuca, grow Melaleuca. Buy the plant, buy the leaves, because once they turn into that pill or that capsule, all of the additional components that belong there, that nature put in there to work together with it, they're all gone once they turn into a pill or a capsule or a drink even. So I'm not big on taking single component things. Yeah, what they did, Kyle, was we decided to walk to the Dunn's River Falls from our hotel, and it was down this road, and it was beautiful. We thought it was a like 2-3 mile walk, and it wasn't far, and we thought we'd walk. And these guys were down in a ditch, these Jamaican men at a picnic table. And the guy came up and he came running up to us. And Heather looked like what they used to call a white Jamaican. She was very tanned because we had been there for a few days. And she had that long, straight, beautiful hair that I told you about. And she was dark skinned. And we had a little, Lovett was her name. And we brought a little guide with us. So we were walking down there. These guys come running up and he keeps putting his hand around Heather and saying, I love your daughter. I love you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. She's beautiful. She's very beautiful. I love your daughter. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want your daughter. He said, oh, I know. And I know, I want your daughter. And at that point, Lovett grabbed Heather and ran ahead. And so I said, well, she's gone by and I got to run. I knew something was going on. And I said to Lovett, I said, what's going on, Lovett? Why did you run ahead? She says, he drinks demon rum. He wants to drink her blood. And I went, what? He said, they take the children. So we went back to our hotel, and we had become friends with the guys in the band. And Denny, isn't that something how you remember all this stuff? Denny says, we were talking to him that night, and at the thing, I said, Denny, I got to ask you something. This happened to us today, and Lovett said that these people wanted Heather's blood. They were going to take her and drink her blood. And he said, it's true. They tried to take me as a little boy. So that was an adult validating that. So yeah, you got to be careful, guys, when you go other places. You got to be careful. Let's see. Maybe we just need to keep an open mind on these podcasters. They could be part of the operation. Watch over time. Yeah, guys, everybody, take everything with a grain of salt. There's disinformation out there. I try to verify every single thing that I can, and that's why I could not. That's why I could not conclude that Mother Teresa was Fauci's father. There's just nothing on it. And when you do investigations, you don't put people away with flimsy evidence. So I'm used to having to tie things down pretty tight. So listen to everything with a grain of salt. I personally don't listen to these podcasters. I feel them. And, Patricia, you're at a point now where you can feel them. And if you feel a bad vibration, if they're affecting or lowering your vibration, then no, I say it's not time to keep an open mind. But only you can decide that. Because again, self-preservation is all about it. When I say selfless, I mean selfless to the spirit that is within you, not your physical prosperity, but the soul that's inside of you has to be protected. So if you get to people that make you feel bad, that make you afraid, they are stealing your frequency, guys. And I don't watch them. I don't watch anybody, but I especially would never even look. Once in a while, I'll put somebody on, and the topic looks good, and I want a little bit about it. I'll run through it, but if it's and even the clueless, like this Prince person, every now and then I'll see what she has to say, because she doesn't give me dark vibes. I don't think she's evil. I think she's just greedy, maybe, or clueless. Maybe misguided, even misguided. But so when they are dark and you can feel that, you open up your hearts, guys, and feel that frequency. And then if you feel that they're stealing your frequency, then just say, I am love, and this can't affect me. Happy cry. I don't know what that was about, but I'm glad you had a happy cry. Let's see. Don't cry, Tahoe. Things are going to get better in the world. They are. They absolutely are. There's my little empath. I was thinking today, I was thinking, how great would it be if we could put together a vacation together somewhere? I don't know where. I was thinking Key West. The cruises now, they're cheaper, but, I was just thinking someplace where we could just all meet up and share. Are you talking about Juan or James? Okay, you guys are blabbing there. Yeah, he was on Nino's show a lot. I have watched, but I've heard people say, watch out because McKay was putting weird triangles in his centers, and there were suspicious themes. Yeah, I don't know about all that, guys. Triangles. The symbol. Remember, one thing, guys. Remember, their symbolism will destroy them. So if you start seeing symbols, that's what, to be honest with you, and I'm still open because I don't. I hate talking about other people because I don't want to dissuade anyone else. But when I saw that picture of Michael Jacobs' wife with that seeing eye, it never left me. That symbol on someone's shirt never left me. Just as if I walked up to you and you had a picture of Satan tattooed on your arm, that would worry me. That would worry me. So watch out because McKay was putting weird. Triangle. I don't know. XRP patches. That's the patches. I think that I sold for a few months. No, I didn't sell them. I sold to one person, but I did the science on them, and I'm not saying that they don't have the potential to help. Basically, what they are, I did a video on them. I don't know if I took it down or not because I got ticked off when they didn't pay me my commissions. But they have crystal allegedly embedded in them, which is fine. But basically, if you wanted to, I guess you could take crystals, smash them up, find some kind of, do your science and find out if there's a medium that transfers it quicker and put a Band-Aid on your hand. I don't know. I'm just about doing things naturally. They were expensive. That's why I didn't try them. We're just not in that position. And if I'm going to spend any money, it's going to be money on this channel. That's just me, guys. I know someone who sold part of the business, fresh ravioli to Kraft. I was shocked. I was looking at components the other day of ravioli, and they put what's the canola oil in them. Canola was in the raviolis. I'm gonna make some. So dying. Somewhere, one of you guys talked about it. Maybe it was you, Patricia, about making pasta. And I remember those days of making pasta with my grandma, making those raviolis with the glass and putting it there and twisting it and smashing down the edges with the fork. Gosh, time. There's never time, is there? It's so easy to make pasta too. It is so easy, guys. Yep. You got to watch when they're being taken over. Eyes, triangles, pyramids. Oh, really? Really? Yeah. Here's one thing I wonder too. And you guys tell me what you think. I totally know that there are two separate federations that speak. Now, I know for a fact that the Galactic Federation of Worlds is the real deal. And that is because I have seen them, okay? I've seen the display that they put on. So I know that they're the real deal. However, there was also the Galactic Federation of Light, and that's a lot older. And that's in with the guide and all that stuff. And they had all of the pieces about manifestation, about affirmations, about meditation. They had it all. But if you remember, but this goes way, way back. We don't know how far back all this goes. But remember, a lot of them, we always heard about the third eye. That's Hinduism, guys. That goes ancient stuff. So there's the eye. So, the symbols can have different meanings. And the danger isn't in the symbols. The danger is the thought behind the symbols, I think. So, but when they're putting them out there, why are you putting eyes, triangles, pyramids, or why are you flashing these things? Why are you flashing? I don't even ever, the devil horns. My gram used to do that. I'm going to put the Maloik on you, she'd say, and teasing. Um, but I don't ever use those symbols because I don't want to give them any energy. Um, that's what happens. The small, pure family businesses, yep, sell out to the conglomerate poison industry. Yep. That's why my movement putting those baddies out of business. Yep, you're absolutely right, guys. Bill, go to David Nino Rodriguez, see what you think. Okay. Oh, Bill and Kathy have never seen Nino. You almost have to. The problem is, Patricia, if you're sensitive to frequencies, then yes, um, you can feel the vibe. Okay, when you've watched these people over time, you get a better feeling about their motivation, right? So Nino, the vibes, and he's following fear porn is what he's doing, and he's parroting fear porn. I don't necessarily think he's a bad guy from his history, but I don't know. Donald's making a call back to work. You guys remember Froggy, of course. Forget his name. Um, Pepe. I forget his name, but died after one of the big rah rah events. Or maybe we talking about the same thing. Always wondered if he's dead or in hiding. I don't know who the frog is. Disappeared. Don't know. Don't know. Need a name. Anybody got it? Doug Kuzman and Mike Penny, Frog Network. Oh, Mike Penny, wasn't he associated with Godlewski? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I don't know who the Kuzman is. Oh, the Frog Network. No, I didn't know about that. But that tells me that it was somebody that was purporting to be associated with Q, or they were an anon. I was concerned that Trump's son and daughter-in-law attend all these events. Thrive, Clay, Clark. I don't know. I honestly don't know about Kushner. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. I know. I don't know. I wondered, but I just also find again, remember, you always have to look at things two ways. We're watching a movie, so you have to say, is he an actor in the movie that he's playing a role? Is he taking the heat off of other people, perhaps? I don't know. Or I have a hard time believing that his daughter would have married the deep state. I just have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. But hey, kids can't be controlled, can they? They're going to do what they want. I remember Frog Mike, Penny, and Doug. I don't know if they're still around or not. Was I wrong? Wasn't Mike Penny part of the whole Godlewski thing? That was a long time ago on YouTube. Yeah, it was. Yes, you're right. Nino is nervous, puts out that fear because he's in fear. Yeah. Oh, Dave, New Zealand. I haven't seen you in a while, Dave. Good to see you. Good to see you. I wish you could have gotten here sooner, but that's okay. I'm just glad you're here. It hurt Nino a lot when he was begging for even 50 cents, getting thousands, then bragging his home was being renovated and renovated his parents' home, who he supposedly cares for. But he was saying he takes care of them. Yes. It takes them to 5-star dinners 3 times a week on their donation. What? Oh, that's sad. Yeah, that's sad. That is sad. I don't know. The guy did pretty well in boxing. He was. I mean, I don't know what they get, but to have your body destroyed like that must pay pretty well. The football players make millions, so that's what I'm saying. You each have to find and guys. If you go to the wrong person, you believe, you trust in the wrong person, and they let you down, just know that it was your path for whatever reason. That was the journey that you had to take to get to where you're going. Um, yeah, you don't go out begging for. I mean, he told people even 50 cents. He was begging, getting thousands, then bragging his home is being renovated. Oh, Nino's role. See, so that is an ego thing. He had to tell you about his home getting renovated. He had to tell you about how prosperous. He wanted you to think he was, doing well and all this stuff. Um, makes it hard to say you're poor. You might as well just, open up a business and say, I'm selling this stuff, and I believe it. Nino's role is to wake people up. He's a former heavyweight boxer champion. He's aggressive, but he's waking a lot of people up. And that's what I said too, Abby, is everybody has a different role. Everybody has a different role. Just I don't do the fear stuff. Happy Doug has, but Happy makes a good point there. There are some people that you gotta shock the heck out of them to wake them up. So, or they'll just be the status quo. So everybody has a role, and we each have to find the place where we want to be, where we want our consciousness to lie and absorb. Let's see. Happy Doug has been gone and Mike Penny died. Oh, really? Mike Penny died. Okay. Thank you, Dan, for that. Them to 5-star dinners 3 times a week in the donations. Hello, Dave. Dave. Yeah, Dave, we haven't seen Dave in a while. People are still finding this. Some of our good people that are, more awake, let's say, are still finding the live streams. Penny died too. Yeah, he didn't look good. Welcome aboard, Dave. I'm done now, I hope. Oh, you're done. Well, you should be. It's getting late. Mike Penny got sick for a long time. I'm sad to hear that. And then there were some baddies trying to kill him, so I don't know what happened. Well, he died, we know. We don't know what happened. Nino's sister, I learned, lived down the road from me when I lived. So you know them personally, or no. I see. Okay. Is anyone else experiencing spirits volume getting lower? I am. Oh, it might be. I try to. If I get too excited, I try to lower it. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Nino did shows with the construction crews in his home and laughed how donations paid all his Grubhub deliveries, and the drivers ran off scared because let his pit bull out. I've thought about that. I've thought about if you guys would like to see our workout room, or but we're still putting it back together, or my my food that I grow, and there's different things. We'll be going out on the boat hopefully soon. It just finally came back now that the summer's almost over. So hopefully we'll be able to get out on that soon and share some of Florida sun with you. Let's see. Yeah, I do too, Bill and Kath. There's nothing to fear. It's kind of like an if you know thing. You know what I'm saying? That if you know where we're going with all this, and that where we are in this operation, then there's you don't have to listen to that fear. You just don't have to listen. Some people need shock, so I get a reason for everything. My opinion, Nino is promoting awareness. If people don't want to watch him, that's okay. He does have a lot of great information. He may. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's not Nino specifically for me. Happy. It's just that I don't watch any truthers. Dan and Elena was it that I ever would watch for any kind of intel or information. Carolyn is yeah, I know. We talked about that in the beginning. We had a little thing on here. Who do we think is going to take her place? I don't know who could possibly do it. Do you? He's funny though. Oh, is he funny? Okay. Well, good entertainment is nice. Very sad though. I know. I know. Yeah, I can get it too. You know, she did such a great. We were saying, Dave, that all of them have been women. So I'm wondering if there's going to be another woman because most of the men don't seem to do it. The women have this perfect way of doing what I call, my daughter taught me this, resting bitch face. When you just sit there and you're just waiting for that moment to pop something out at them, you know? So um, for that reason, I thought, you know, I think there's going to be a woman because nobody does resting bitch face like a woman does. We know we are okay and things will be fine. We have to, yeah, exactly. It's a process, and thank heaven that that we have these resources still, and it's opening up. I'll tell you what, guys. When I was into the whole Q thing and stuff, and got taken off of Facebook, there's no way this channel could have existed right now. So we are improving. It's a process. It didn't happen overnight. It's not going to go away overnight. This is my one stop. I will try not to let you down, beautiful. You've been with me for a while. I know you've had such difficult times. Yes, our one-stop shop. Oh, our great, lovely, sacred, direct awakening. Come on. Oh, you're sweet, Abby. So let me run. I got a few minutes. Let me run by here. Tim, are you here? I think he. Yes, nice to have spirit in each other. Everything's fine. Thank you, sweetie. I'm going to run by these real quick. I got a couple. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. Nothing long, but I did lose the stream. Hold on. Let me find the stream. There we go. There's the stream. All right. Let me see what I have in my notes here, real quick, guys. We did Source's birthday. We did her. We did that. All right. I'm going to run the affirmation bias one more time before I look over that. Okay, here's our affirmation. Close your eyes. I release all lower frequencies of fear and lack, anchoring my mind and my heart in the absolute truth of our collective awakening, of freedom and of boundless abundance. And so it is. All right, so let's see what else I got. Did that, we did that. Oh, did you hear they busted, made an arrest? The CFO, Heidi Beerich of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Remember that equality group, NGO, that was paying and supporting the KKK? Well, she was part of secret payments to informants inside white supremacist groups, and they were supposed to be standing up for, oh, and so it is. I love that too. Thank you. This is exactly what we said would happen, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she played a primary role in the scheme from 2007 to 2023. She helped orchestrate this fraudulent activity worth approximately $4.2 million. Thank you, Sherry. Conspiring with SPLC to defraud donors. See, this was people donating, these people that were donating the poverty, for poverty, and it was like for the blacks and stuff. And they were taking the donations and paying the Ku Klux Klan. Unbelievable. So she was busted. Another one. Let's see. Here was another bust, guys. We are winning, winning, winning. Here's another bust that you might not have heard about. 11 people got busted in more than one. Wait, he announced charge. Oh, so there have been charges against 11 people in a massive scheme that arranged more than 1,000 sham marriages. So this wasn't the marriages that were busted. This was the organizers, the ones that put it all together between Chinese nationals and U.S. citizens to fraudulently obtain green cards. So it was an organization that arranged 1,000 sham marriages for Chinese and U.S. citizens. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey signed a new law allowing the death penalty for the rape and torture of a child. That's about the what, fifth or sixth one now, maybe sixth or seventh. So state after state, death penalty for torture or rape of a child. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's the best deterrent we could ever have. Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao was federally indicted on bribery, mail fraud, and wire fraud charges. So this is another mayor, right? A mayor, another low-level official. That's what we're seeing right now. Is the low-level officials are going down, and the big boys, big fish are still out there. Mayor Sheng Thao was federally indicted on bribery, mail fraud, wire fraud charges, along with 3 others, facing a maximum of 95 years in prison. We ain't playing around, guys. Can get around other states with federal prosecutions. I don't know why I have that. Wrote that down there. Allegations center on Thao and an associate accepting $95,000 in bribes from the Duong family, owners of Oakland's curbside recycling contract. So the recycling bin companies are in it in exchange for contract extensions, property purchases, and official appointments that started back in October 2022. Thao was elected in 2022 and recalled by the voters in 2024. This was sad, guys, but it's necessary, and it just goes to show that things are moving along. This week there were 3 executions in one day. Oklahoma executed 70-year-old Carlos Cuesta Rodriguez for killing his girlfriend in 2003. Tennessee followed with a 66-year-old Anthony Darrell Hines. We don't care about their names. There were 3 of them. It was Tennessee, Oklahoma, and then a child rapist murderer, 5-year-old. I don't know what's Alabama. Oklahoma, Alabama, and Tennessee. All right. Parents can now sue schools who won't let them opt out of vaccines. Trump said that, and I got that here for you. Here you go. Play that for you.
Actually show you the graffiti here that appears to include the words "clean hands, dirty money." Before police cordoned off the area, we also saw several people that were playing with the bubbles that seemed to be coming out of the fountains. Park police have now cleared that area. News 4's Joseph Olmo just got to that scene. He's going to see what more he can find out. He's coming in from the National Mall. U.S. Park Police are blocking off the World War II memorial right now because it looks like this. Vandals spray painted it and apparently put some kind of solution in the water fountains there. Our cameras actually got there before Park Police did, so we can actually show you the graffiti here that appears to include the words "clean hands, dirty money." Before police cordoned off the area, we also saw several people that were playing with the bubbles that seemed to be coming out of the fountains.
Hold on. Let me stop.
Park police have now cleared that area. News 4's Joseph Olmo just got to that scene. He's going to see what more he can find out. He's coming in from the National Mall. U.S. Park Police are blocking off the World War II memorial right now because it looks like this. Vandals spray painted it and apparently put some kind of solution in the water fountains there. Our cameras actually got there before Park Police did, so we can actually show you the graffiti here that appears to include the words "clean hands, dirty money." Before police cordoned off the area, we also saw several people that were playing with the bubbles that seemed to be coming out of the fountains. Park police have now cleared that area. News 4's Joseph Olmo just got to that scene. He's going to see what more he can find out. He's coming in from the National Mall. U.S. Park Police are blocking off the World War II memorial right now because it looks like this. Vandals spray painted it and apparently put some kind of solution in the water fountains there.
Okay, so
our cameras actually got there before Park Police did, so we can actually show you the graffiti here that
to show you what they did, because I mean, I'm sure you heard it, but I don't know if you saw it. Not a lot of them had it all. The one with, there you go, this one here. Hold on, I'm going to take that down. This is about the vaccines, if you have grandchildren or anything like that, that I wanted to show you guys. Yep, you got it. All right. Oh, this one's got to be stopped. Close that one out. Here we go.
Vaccinations for hepatitis, separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations to hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children. In addition, this executive order directs the Attorney General to advance legal challenges against states that violate children's rights to religious or medical vaccination exemptions for the exemptions. Other countries separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all.
Can't stop you if you don't want to give your kid the vaccines, which is really cool. Let me see if I have anything else here. Yeah, there was this was another one here. Our poor kids, guys. This is so sad. I'm going to read this to you because I wrote it down and I didn't reduce it, but let me just see here. I'll give you the crux of it. HHS reported, had a report. They filed a report titled Wolves in White Coats. I don't know if you guys have seen that. But it detailed insurance fraud in the pediatric gender programs. What a shock, huh? They cited 50 million in puberty blocker claims for minors that were being billed under vague endocrine codes. Now, mind you, that's because there is no billing code to use these puberty blockers for gender transition. So they're putting bogus reasons down and they're getting caught. It says over 200, let's see, 50 million in puberty blockers claims for minors often billed under the, okay. That was from 2015 to 2025, 50 million in fraud that they found so far. And remember, when they find a certain amount, that's the tip, guys, of the iceberg. Over 225 hospitals established such gender programs, with the report claiming financial incentives drove experimental treatments over evidence-based care. And it prompted RFK and J.D. Vance to refer these facilities to the DOJ and the HHS Inspector General. So the report notes that average healthcare spending for a typical minor is $3,000. Once on the pathway of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and possible surgeries, the lifetime cost can reach $25,000 to $75,000 without surgery, and $170,000 with surgeries. So normally the healthcare that we spend on a child is $3,000 a year, $25,000 to $75,000 up to $170,000. Just more ways. What they did to our system, more ways to get money to come in to steal and giving drugs like that to our babies. All right, so I'm not going to go over the different ones. That doesn't matter. And then I showed you the World War II memorial. That's what I had for you today. So let me put this down and let me check your comments here. You guys are just blabbing away when I talk, aren't you? We are winning. Look, yep. Heard of the marriage scam fraud? Yeah. Freedom. Every time I turned around, I'm hearing doctors busted for Medicare fraud. Tahoe, it's huge. Okay, I can tell you that from when I worked. And I worked for the state from 88 until 2003. And I can tell you that back then it was huge. You have no idea. Every time I turn around, I'm hearing, yep, heard of the shams marriages. Can I please borrow against our sovereign accounts? I know. Tell me about it. Commander-in-Chief said, I hope those sovereign accounts, you're doing okay right now, right? So far. You got your appointment coming up next week, is it? Next week? And you had some of those resources that we talked about last week to check some things out, right? I hope you got a hold of them. Did you get a hold of them, Tahoe? Commander-in-Chief said we get tired of winning. I'm not tired. I'm dancing too. Many judges and attorneys are getting busted too. Yep. Along with the crooked nurses, doctors, and others poisoning our. I'll tell you what, they're taking those nurses down that are up there putting those things threatening MAGA people that they'd hurt them and stuff like that. They wouldn't take care of them, and they're losing their licenses left and right. Lots of police officers and sheriff's deputies are getting caught up in the flock cameras deal. I don't know what you mean. They're abusing them. Is that what you're talking about there, Donald? Because like I said, I don't know much about these cameras. I thought they were just doing tags. I haven't really got involved in that because I just see it. Like I said, the way it came out to me said to me, this is a planted narrative to take my mind off something else. And that's why I didn't. Let's see. Most of the sheriff's departments in my area are corrupted. Wow. They've been compromised along with some of the police departments. It happens, yeah, during investigations. Good. They deserve to. Now they're going away. In Lawrence, Massachusetts. Well, when you think about it too, they took, what did they do to them? They taught them not to obey the law in many of these cities. Their police officers would get in trouble if they obeyed the law. Not that I justify that corruption in any way, but I can see where they set up the channels for it for sure. Most of the sheriff's department here in my area is corrupted. We got that. Okay. In Lawrence, Massachusetts, Mayor Brian DePeria arrested 814 for wire fraud. Oh, I missed that one. Money laundering, misuse. So that's another Massachusetts one. Or is that the one I talked about earlier? Oh, no, we talked about him before you came on, Shelley. Yeah, I mentioned him quickly. The money laundering misuse. Yeah. But the one we talked about, maybe it wasn't him. There was another one that, no, the thing about Massachusetts that we talked about was House Bill 3551. The commission that they created to kiss the butts of people from Islam and Arabs. That was the one we talked about earlier. Massachusetts has got their problems. They might be a poster state to expose things. I don't know. I think that's New York, though. Yeah, there is serious time. I don't know what to think about that whole Janine Perot thing. She has to prosecute things, and I get that. And without the evidence, and she's got to anticipate what their defense is going to be. And some cases are not prosecutable. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I never tried to tell one of the state attorneys what they could and couldn't prosecute. I just tried to get more evidence if we didn't have enough. We get a lot of corrupt people here in Oklahoma, really, Tulsa. I used to have a friend that lived in Tulsa. He was almost my soulmate. But what he did, we never dated. He was a client of mine in real estate. You can imagine me. You guys know how I am, man. I didn't let people waste a dime in real estate, and we became friends, many of us. So his wife was very quiet and sweet, and but he was outgoing and gregarious, and he was a Libra also. But I used to always tell him, if I get married again, I want to marry a Libra because I'm so compatible. Guess what? Timmy's a Libra. And it worked. Lee McCarr. Don't know Lee McCarr. Oh, wait. Above there. Yeah, we got a lot of corrupt people here. Oh, I see. There is a book called Unjust by Lee McCarr. I see. And it talks about all the crimes committed in Oklahoma. Wow. Well, that's a tornado of a revealing book. Come on. Oh, is it? Is it? Okay, I hadn't seen it. Massachusetts, a big mess too. Abortion up to birth. Yep. Horrible. To protect Islam. I don't know what the deal with Massachusetts is. But you got to keep in mind too, and why isn't it in Connecticut? Why isn't it Connecticut where all the elite have their homes? There was a hotline to report the fraud, but sometimes I feel they are not busted. Yes, next Wednesday consult. Wednesday consult. And you got in, hanging in there. Thank you all. Okay. All right, good. We love you, girlfriend, and we're always thinking about you. All right. So let's see. What day is that? I want to write that down. Wednesday is the consult. So they're not pushing this. So it sounds like maybe you've gotten it relatively earlier than they usually metastasize, which is a good thing. Okay, Helen. Love you, sweetheart. Have a great weekend. She's probably already gone. About reporting fraud, but sometimes I feel, I'll tell you what, I think now I report everyone. Everyone I go on, and I use X because it's so easy to tag a government body, and I always see them getting busted afterwards. There are some and don't forget, you might have reported somebody 3 months ago, but the investigation could take a year to get the evidence that's needed. So just because you don't see people going down that you've reported doesn't mean they're not. Happy it is us. Knew back in the day these people were not good. It's in this book, and even I'm kind of lost you on that one. And it even surprised me the extent of horrible that they've done. I want you guys to think about Vixen also. She's having a hard time. So we got Vixen in Tahoe, and we haven't seen Vixen in two things. So I hope she's okay. I pray for her safety. Sheriff Mack out of Arizona held seminars trying to re-educate the cops. What they do is wrong and get it on the right side. Good. That's what we need. More, I forget who the guy in Polk County is, but he's fantastic. You should look at it because it's a lot deeper than people think. Stalking people with the flock cameras in every department around here. Really? Okay. I'll take a look and see what I can find. But the thing is, I guess what I don't understand, when you say stalking, why is that any different than what my refrigerator is doing? That I need to know where this is going. Data is collected every time I walk out my door. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a camera right down the road somewhere. Everybody's house has got a camera. I'm everywhere. So I guess that's why maybe I don't understand the nature of them, but if they're simply recording, I don't know, but I'll have to look into it. We were all taught, give me till the next live, Donald. We were all taught wrong about history, rules, regulations, laws, everything. It's discombobulated. We got 100% undiscombobulated. Exactly. Everything is all jumbled up and wrong. People's brains are jumbled up, aren't they? This idiotic, backwards, crazy BS. Yep. All right. Patricia said hi to Helen. Yes, the flock cameras have the ability to profile people, not only your tag. Okay, they dig into, whoa, shoot, I clicked on something, didn't want to do that. They dig into your history and they could put tabs on you. So isn't it what they're already doing by your internet? So okay, I think I see what you're saying. The internet, what they're doing, what Snowden showed was things that we were deliberately posting was being accumulated about us and put into a database. Now you're saying these cameras are taking our body shape. See, now from what I understand, I did a little bit on that. I looked briefly into it. And there's a technology that can actually profile your outline, your physical shape and everything else. That this didn't do that. But I'll have to look into that. I don't want to speak about what I don't know. They can figure out where you live and everything. Don't they already know that? I guess. I need to research that. Froze a second spirit. Okay. DJT spoke today in front of a law enforcement and spoke on qualified immunity. A calm, in my opinion. Oh, yeah? Qualified immunity. Okay. And that was DJT. Yeah, flock cameras. I got that. Qualified immunity is a total con usually connected to corrupt sheriffs. Okay, see, no. Now, qualified immunity, in general, I had qualified immunity. In fact, I had absolute immunity, unless there was malice when I worked for the state. So I don't know if that's what he's talking about or what, but it's really common, guys, when you're an investigator and you're working with bad guys and you're exposing bad guys. It's really, really common for them to sue you over and over and over again. Like I said, I was sued over 10 times for just ridiculous, frivolous lawsuits. Luckily, the state defended me. And I didn't have to put the money out of my pocket. But every time I won on my immunity, and there's certain, because I didn't have any malice, I was doing my job. So I don't, that's what I consider qualified immunity. But again, let me see what that what's coming up, what he spoke about, and see if he's talking about things. Because it's not only corrupt people that have immunity, it's a necessity. Like for instance, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I did remark on this about that Derek Chauvin that put his neck on the guy's shoulder and killed the drug addict. Well, that his blood levels, when you look at the autopsy of the fentanyl, the blood levels of the fentanyl, if I'm not mistaken, he had 2 point something nanograms per milliliter in his blood, and 11. No, he had 11. He had 11 in his blood, and 2 point something was the toxic dose. And this guy, he clearly overdosed. That guy clearly died from the fentanyl. And in my opinion, as a pharmacist, and I would testify to that, and this guy got murder, I mean, or whatever he got, manslaughter. I mean, that's why you need a qualified immunity. They were even going beyond the qualified immunity. If you shoot somebody that shot you, and you didn't mean any harm, you were just, protecting yourself, or it's hard to explain. It's like a good Samaritan. Not all medical people, certainly not all medical people, but the Good Samaritan thing was that's another type of qualified immunity. But I don't know. I'll have to see what he's talking about. My brother-in-law got into my CMS Medicare, long story, but if I report no way to be anonymous, he thinks he's above it all. Well, I told you I'll report him if there's something to report him on. Most of them were stalking ex-wife or ex-husbands. So the cops were misusing them, Donald, is what you're saying. They can see everything you are doing. It can read your Wi-Fi signal and hack right into your car. Sounds intrusive. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. There's always and see what has to happen there. Well, I told you, a friend of mine developed a technology to sniff what's in your house. And he did it because they told him when he did the work, he was a contractor for the federal government. And they told him when he did the work that it was to sniff out the components of explosives. And that's why he did it. That was the job. And he got a call when we were out on the sailboat one day from DEA, and DEA was wanting to use it to be able to drive by your house and smell what you've got in your house. That's intrusive. He was ticked off. He was really ticked off. So those kind of officials that want to abuse this technology have to go. But you're right. I mean, I don't know. Yes, I think this is definitely makes sense. I will help bring it down. The baddie officials, many are only appointed, not elected. Right, that you should not be working for We the People's Rights. Okay. I heard Chauvin was an actor paid. That I would believe in a heartbeat. I would believe that in a heartbeat, Tahoe. There was a whole channel about it. Yeah, I would believe that. Heard about who? Heard about who? I don't know. Happy's TV. Oh, heard that Derek Chauvin. She heard Derek Chauvin was an actor. The Minnesota cop. Got it. You guys are funny. All right. So it's been 2 hours and 3 hours, guys. Can you believe that? Timmy wants to drum tonight. I don't know where he is. He must be upstairs somewhere because he's been awful quiet as a mouse. Tahoe heard. Yeah. Patricia heard that too. I think he would be. I think he would be. All right. One thing I would like to do is I would. Yes, all in there is major mass distract, keep us occupied with external BS so we can not concentrate on them. It's all theater, guys. Yep, it is. All right, so what I'd like to do is I would like to send Tahoe some loving vibrations, some healing and loving vibrations right now. I know we did cover a lot, didn't we, Tahoe? All right, so what we want to do is we just want to close our eyes and we want to send out high frequencies of healing, of love, of gratitude, of hope, of anticipation to Tahoe. We want her doctor's appointment on Wednesday to be very positive, We want them to say no, but they probably should do it. So we want it to be a very good outcome with her appointment. We want all fear to be taken away from her because there's nothing to fear. She's not alone. We're here for her. And we send her love every day. Just a minute thought. Just say, I love you to Tahoe. Just once a day, if you can think of it, guys. We're her family, okay? And it's our job to do it as higher beings. So I love you guys. And I like seeing you all saying goodbye to each other. We're a family, guys. We're a family, whether we like it or not, huh? But the good thing is we get to pick our family here. That's the good thing. So remember, be love. One more time on our affirmation, 3's the charm. I release all lower frequencies of fear and lack, anchoring my mind and heart in the absolute truth of our collective awakening, of freedom and of boundless abundance. And so it is. Okay, guys, I love you. Tuesday, and I don't know what's coming out soon, but go with it, okay? I love you. Have a great weekend, guys. Oh, yep, some hearts. We need some hearts. There we go, some hearts. Love you guys. Remember, be love. Be love. Bye-bye.